Hey, and welcome to the once more streaming edition of Happy Jack's RPGs. My name is Jason. I am the quote unquote dungeon master in this game. I use that term loosely because I'm not really in charge of what's happening here. But where you can find out everything you want to know about Happy Jacks at Happy Jacks RPG, and you can find out stuff about me at It's Probably Okay. I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute, but let's meet our players. Claire, tell us about yourself and your character briefly.
Yes, my name is Claire. I found Happy Jacks. I was one of the founding members of Happy Jacks. It took a long break, and am happy to be back. My character Nyx is a changeling, and they are a rogue. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what we do with this.
Excellent, Eli.
Yeah, my name's Eli. I'm at Ignatius Wang on Twitter, if we're doing that right now, and I'm playing Alaebas, a Order of the Ancient Paladin, and he's a wood elf.
Pooja.
Hi, I'm Pooja. I am playing Zay, a changeling blade soul sorcerer.
Awesome.
Basically, I'm all up in your face.
And Rob.
And I am Rob, and I am playing a Luxodon, think elephant person, Warlock, and I am up in your face. I'm back around the corner, probably 4 blocks away.
Yeah.
That's where I'm safest.
And specifically, you're a great old one, Warlock.
Dude, age has nothing to do with it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Let's just say great and move on from there.
It is a specific thing from the rule book that is worth mentioning.
So the one time you bring up the rules, the one time.
Is going to be about you, Rob. Yes.
Yeah, sounds legit. Yeah.
Does being old make him short? Is that the deal? Is that how that works?
Yep. You get shorter as you get older.
Okay.
I mean, if
Please-
anime
please
has
no.
taught me anything, then yes, that is true.
Yep. That's just science. Okay. So, hi. Yeah, we're here playing D&D in Eberron. That's what our City of Towers is referring to. Eberron, the setting originally created by Keith Baker and has now been adapted for 5th edition as of this, I don't know, about 6 months ago or so. This gorgeous book came out. It has all the updated information on artificers and warforged and changelings and all the fun stuff that Eberron has to offer is all available there. So our campaign is going to dig into a little bit about what's been happening with an island of folks who were turned undead, but it turns out they're not mindless evil undead wandering around wanting brains. They want to set up shipping lanes and, commerce. And maybe not a lot of tourism. This may not be a popular tourist destination, but...
Or at least they're not really into the people who would think it was a tourist destination.
Right.
Right.
It's worth noting that there is in Eberron, specific to this setting, it's a little bit unique. There is already precedent for non-evil undead. A lot of D&D settings just have sort of these, black and white or at least 9-point alignment charts that I find I don't enjoy using that limited chart. And on top of that, Eberron says, yeah, and not all undead are evil. There's a group called the Undying, a group of the Arenal elves. I have actually looked this up this time and have more information at my fingertips, who created the ability to become undead through positive energy as opposed to negative energy. They remain after death because they are cherished and fondly remembered, and they stick around to look after their families and take care of folks. So the interesting thing about this island that you all have been learning about, and it is, if you're interested, you could go back and watch the Desert of Despair campaign that Rob was in, and I mean, it was a good campaign anyway, though, so don't let that put you off. But that campaign explored how the island of Welldown came to be peopled with a lot of undead folks. Not everyone there is undead, but it's a whole big town of like a couple thousand people are there and undead. So that's a pretty big town in this sort of, Victorian. I hesitate to use the word steampunk because that has a lot of baggage associated with it, but it is definitely sort of Victorian era styling. So you get vests and suits and the kind of dresses you would picture with that era, and there's a lot of magic, like technology that works based on magic, and steampunk is basically that. Like the kind of steam power that you see in steampunk fiction, it does not really track to real world steam technology. So we see a lot of that stuff here. So last time,
what if magic had feelings?
Yeah. It's the thing that Keith Baker wanted to explore. He's talked about this a lot. Is if your spells always do the same thing every time you cast them, that's not like a bizarre fantasy thing. That's science. That's like you could measure it and time it, and you need exactly this pinch of this powder, and you have to say this magic word. And they're like, okay, well, that's a repeatable thing that you could study. Anyone could study and learn how to do. So also in this world, lots of people know a spell or maybe two spells, right? In business school, you get like a couple of balancing the books spell and mending, let's say. So I don't know. There's lots of little things like that'll just be part of the world.
Homework us, finish us.
Right. That would be amazing. I would love for my students to use that. Just finish the homework. I don't care at this point. Use magic. It's great.
I don't care.
Just do the thing.
Actually, no, don't. I don't endorse cheating on schoolwork at all under any circumstance.
No, never.
I'm obliged to say that out loud.
Is it cheating if you just give them permission to do what it takes?
It's only cheating if there's betrayal.
No comment.
And getting caught.
No, still cheating if you don't get caught.
It's still cheating if you don't get caught.
Yeah, it's still cheating if you don't get caught.
Just no one knows. It's like if a tree falls in the woods. The tree fell over. We just haven't observed it yet.
Prove it.
I will. I'll go look at it, and then we'll know that you were cheating.
I don't want to watch. I don't want to go look at Rob cheating.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's fair.
Oh, that went to a Happy Jack
That went
kind of place.
Yeah, okay. I have a
Sorry.
good sense of how tonight's going to go. All right. So last time we had gone through most of our Decima questions, and we had outlined a lot of who these characters were, what they're about, what they're up to, what they want, and how they know each other. And just to get back into things, we all have, one question left?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think.
One each?
And
Yeah, because
is it-
we didn't go through our group questions.
Oh.
Okay, so a lot of those help define our place, and I was going to say, looking through all our notes and everything from last time, I think we've defined a lot of stuff about our location in a really positive way. I mean, like we have some really clear ideas about what the Silver Flame has been up to, and what your role in that has been. The dock ward, the dock workers united, and we helped the squids get things that they needed. Like there's a whole like play that got shut down as a censorship thing. Like I think there's a lot of good stuff, and maybe we don't need to go overboard on that. So what I will say is, if anyone has a question that has just been burning, and they've been waiting 2 weeks to dig into that question, let's do that. But if what you have is not a passionate hook for you, let's move on to the story. But I'm happy to answer any question that is a burning topic. It sounds like we don't have that.
Nope.
Okay. So
Yeah, I feel like the fact that I forgot about these for 2 weeks,
probably tells us what we need to know, which is fine.
which is like, you know,
Well, yeah, I mean that happens when you actually get to play Decma in person too. That happens of like, you know what? Actually, this served like we did everything we needed to do. We have a ton of information. Let's not overburden it. So
It's not muddy the waters.
Yeah. And a lot of times when you're playing like in person and when you can look at cards and be like, hey, I think we kind of already answered this and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, okay, well, we just spent a really long time going through this and I feel like we're good.
Yeah. And I want to get into more, establishing shots and seeing your characters in life and just sort of meet these people and see what's going on. So I'm happy to move forward with that. The couple other things I should mention. One, where our experiment with this game is that we're using 2 10-sided dice to replace the die 20. And as a reminder, 2, 3, 4 is a critical fail because that adds up to about 5%. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. And 18, 19, 20 is our critical success. And per the DMG, critical fail and critical success only applies in combat. So when you're doing a regular skill check, those are not meant to really float critical failure, critical success. They just sort of work. Now, thematically, we may go to incorporate some of those things, but just so you know that like if you get a 2 when you're trying to talk to somebody, it doesn't mean your tongue falls out of your mouth, right? It just I might take a little bit more narrative control than I would otherwise, but it's also I'm very much, I would probably describe myself as a more like a Powered by the Apocalypse MC than a DM, and I will often try to find a difficult choice or a just an interesting way to interpret something that happened rather than a whiff. I think a whiff, like rolling the dice and missing in D&D. D&D has this very binary outcome, like either you succeed or you don't, and I don't enjoy that as much, and so you're likely to have something happen, but probably not the thing you wanted. So just be aware. Rob, what's wrong with you?
I just really want to play
Is that a
D&D.
question you really want to ask?
You want to have a turn where you just whiff like 3 turns in a row and nothing happens?
Bitch, I don't whiff.
I watched Desert of Despair.
I have no recollection
I'm sure you
of
don't.
any roll going incorrectly.
Uh-huh.
Excellent. I'm happy for you. So just be aware we're using the 2d10. And last time we talked about our critical attack roll. If you roll a crit success, we're going to use max damage plus 1 weapon die. And so that does apply, though, like for our rogue, if you do max damage and it would qualify as a sneak attack, your sneak attack dice max out. Sorcerer, if you cast a spell that rolls, 5d8 and it's a spell attack, right? Not a versus a save or something, you can crit success on that and all the dice come up max. So crit success is crit success. Same thing goes for the bad guys though. So just, you want the crit to go big. I've seen people like the rogue gets the crits on sneak attack and now gets 2d6 for their weapon and 8d6 for sneak attack, and they roll like 9 damage. Like, really? That was 10 dice. How did you roll 9 damage?
Right.
And it's just demonstrably unsatisfying sometimes. So
we're saying that with all damage, Jason. So like my Divine Smite would
Yes.
be an extra a lot.
Well, you max whatever the regular dice roll would be, and then you add the weapon die. Oh no, I'm sorry. So we don't double the well, yeah, we don't double the rogue sneak attack dice. We just max it out, and
Okay.
then add 1 of your weapon die. And so your smite roll, yeah, you would max your smite dice, but then what are you using? Longsword?
Yep.
So if you're using it two-handed, you would just roll 1d10 and add it to this maximum damage roll on top of everything else. Does that make sense?
That's
And
amazing.
we can go over it again when we have to. I just feel like a crit.
I was about to say, like, it makes sense now, and I'm going to forget the
Mm-hmm.
intricacies of this in 5 minutes.
That's fine. That's fine. There is a model for it in the DMG as well. So this is not one of those things that I have just revamped how D&D is supposed to work. They also, for our casters, there's a thing in the DMG is the Dungeon Master's Guide about using spell points instead of spell slots, which I had not seen before. I just found it this week. I'm going to read over it again, and I'll Slack the two of you. We can have a bigger conversation about it. But I find spell slots supremely unsatisfying, and you might like the spell points thing, but I don't have to play with it, so it's not important to me that we necessarily decide that right this second. But it's along the lines of like, okay, at level 4, you get this many spell points. Level 1 spells cost this, many, and level 2 costs this, and level 3. And so you could spend it all on level 3 spells if you want, right? Like, it's not like you run out of level 3
so
spell
much
slots.
math, though.
It is on one hand. On the other hand, it lets you use your magic the way you want. So it's sort of like having mana in a video game, which is a lot easier to manage when it's in a computer. So that's the downside to it. I definitely think that's the downside, is you have to like math your way through the spell points. And I just read about it recently, and I haven't looked at whether D&D Beyond will support spell points versus slots.
So
If I would have to say that, like, if D&D Beyond would support it, I have no problem moving over to it if that's what people want to do. But if it doesn't, I know myself, and attempting to like math my way through is going to really detract from my enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, that's fair. And we could decide that offline too. We're not going to do it right this second. The other thing we should talk about is that we as a group have agreed that the X card is a thing that we know and love. It's something we can do visually on camera, or just put an X in our off-camera group chat. It's we may have to bring it up in terms of, okay, what is it that we need to remove exactly, and we'll get that, but we would certainly remove anything that is asked to be removed. The X card can be used to remove something that feels off tone, or just a kind of a weird thing in the game, or like, actually let's not have that guy be named this, or there's lots of things you can use it for. And it is also supremely useful for anything that comes up that is emotionally uncomfortable or into sort of dangerous territory for you personally. And that is, again, not a thing I'm going to ask you to explain why. I just need to know which thing to pull and swap out. So that is a safety tool that everyone at Happy Jacks uses. And we have also done an anonymous Google Doc of... oh wait, did we do Lines of Veils? Or was that my other group?
no, you sent a Google Doc around, I thought.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I think my other group still has to do it.
But we're your favorite group,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. So we did an anonymous Google Doc offline. Well, a Google Doc is online, but off camera. So Lines and Veils, if folks don't know, this is another really cool thing you can use at your table. Even the thing I hear people like, oh, you know what? I've known everyone at my table for 30 years. We all know each other's stuff. Like, it's fine. We don't need this kind of document. I'll tell you what, most of these folks I've known for years and I've played with for years, and I still want to use this kind of document. For two reasons. One, the other criticism people give is like, oh, X card or whatever, you're editing my fun. You're telling me what I can't do. Like, well, one, if your fun is hurting someone, I don't give a shit about your fun.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's...
Don't apologize. Like, fuck your fun. If your fun includes hurting someone else, fuck your fun.
Yeah, if that's more important to you, I don't care, and we don't need to game together. We're good here.
Unless it's hurt by consent.
That's a different thing, though, right? That's with consent, all things are possible. So, but
I shouldn't say hurting. I should say harming, I suppose.
Sure.
The context there is different.
Sure. Yeah. I doubt that anyone is physically reaching across the table and punching into each other. Although I've seen it.
I mean, not in quarantine anyway.
Right. So the X card is not editing fun. It's telling us that we can go as far as we want to go until someone hits the X card. Like, I think it's awesome. I think it like frees you up to go like, cool, I'm going to go hard in the paint until somebody says, hey, whoa, buddy, that's a lot. And that's fine. Then we pull back and put the brakes on and figure out how far we have to roll back. And there we are. Lines and veils is another sort of pre-conversation that we all looked at and said, okay, so a line, this is a thing that just does not need to be in the game. It doesn't exist. It's not happening off camera. It's not something we're going to talk about. Goodbye, right? Some examples of those were things like sexual assault. And so, I don't want to just like mention the stuff that everybody put in there because some of it's personal, but the lines are things that just aren't going to be in the game. Veils are things that we're okay with being in the game, maybe even probably would be in the game, but we don't want to have it on screen. So some of those things are like particular sexy times, right? Like if you want to go have sex with an NPC, whatever. I don't care about that, but I also don't want all the gory details on screen. I don't need that. This isn't HBO. I mean, it sort of is, but whatever. HBO, but also we know how to end a series. So
I'm sorry, there's no boobs on screen. I don't understand what's happening. I need
Right.
I need the boobs for exposition.
yeah, never mind. I mean, this could be arranged.
I do.
Could take my shirt off. The veils are just stuff that we know it happens in the world, and we may even mention it specifically. We're just not going to get into all the details. So that's the kind of stuff that winds up over in the veils. One of the examples that I put on there, and I mention this all the time, is like, hunting, killing animals for food. That's great. For the most part, pets in my campaigns are basically invincible, right? Like we're not going to kill the dog in any campaign I'm running. But like when hunters have to take a deer to feed their town, like, okay, great. Like I just don't need the details about it. So we'll that can be true and we move on with our lives. Okay.
I mean, I could have had an invincible puppers if I played a ranger.
Oh, yeah, I mean, all animals, if you want to have a pet, you can have a pet. It will not die. So...
I mean, I do have a pseudo dragon familiar.
Yeah.
So
it will not
it's
be killed.
tanking for us now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's weird how the enemies just keep ignoring it.
It's taking.
I did have somebody say one time, like, I mean, they were joking, but like, okay, so can I take my parrot and jam it in the gears of this machine? Because I know it won't be killed. Like,
No.
okay, that is funny, but no.
But no.
In principle, I understand what you're saying.
In practice, please stop attempting to
Yeah.
abuse my love of animals.
Oh yeah, that's an excellent mention in our Zoom chat as well. The doesthedogdie.com is a website I have used many times because I don't want to go to a movie and just have that happen and not know. Because
Yeah.
I personally am deeply upset by that. So
Yeah.
that's fine. So
Yeah. One of my best friends and roommates cannot do that. So yeah, she does the same thing.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is go back around, get a little bit more in-depth, like who your character is, because we kind of did the speed round first. I want to find out who your character is, and the opening scene is the four of you in a like flying speeder car, right? Because it's Sharn, the city of towers. There's everything is powered by air elementals and air magic and all kinds of stuff. You all are speeding down through the clouds. You've come out the bottom of the clouds. You're heading down to the lower neighborhoods, which are more certainly less affluent, and there is something in a box, and it's like a crate packed with straw. Like we could see straw sticking out of this wooden slat crate. In the back of this thing, it sort of looks like if you took a pickup truck and like cut the top of the cab off, right? There's like kind of 4 seats and then a bit of a bed in the back. But there's no wheels or anything on it. It's just a little flying platform thing. And the 4 of you are careening down. The vehicle's not out of control, but it is in a dive. And we're going to find out what we have and how we got here. This is a sort of a, for Alias fans, it's like 48 hours earlier. We'll go back and figure out how we got here. But the first thing I need to know is who is driving this handbasket?
I am.
Okay.
Nyx is.
Nyx the Changeling is driving. So
I'm the local. I'm the native. I know where we're going.
Okay. So what does Nyx look like at the controls of this vehicle?
At the moment, Nyx has decided to rock a drow look.
Mm-hmm.
They have black skin, silver hair, pointy ears, still the same kind of rogues clothing that we're used to seeing, and a very just kind of amorphous, genderless look. And they are singing along to something on the radio. If there's a radio, can there be a radio? If there's not a radio, they're just singing this. They're singing a song in their head.
Yeah, I think there's probably maybe you have like an egg that makes music.
Okay.
How about that?
Sure.
Yeah. And it like sticks to the dashboard.
Yeah.
Stay there.
And it's in. They're singing along to us. Oh no, I did not mean to close that window. Darn. I'm trying to remember which languages I speak. But it's not in common. It's darn, I closed everything. I'm sorry.
Is it a song to which you know the words, or are you just singing it because you know, like you don't know what the words mean, but you know, like singing an opera in German when you don't speak German?
No, that is something they absolutely 100% would do, but in this case, it's in Undercommon, and they are singing along, and they do speak that language.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. And did you say how you're dressed? Sorry, I was multitasking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So Nyx's typical dress is very like lots of leather and gauze together.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll wear like a leather doublet over something gauzy and flowy.
Sure.
So it's like a very kind of roby, kimono-y, but structured look. I'm gonna make some sketches and throw some up for the next game.
Awesome. And dark colors, I assume.
Very neutral tones. So like not necessarily, so like blacks, browns, olives,
Mm-hmm.
creams, things that are that can blend into the background easily.
Okay. And you're wearing the face of a drow right now.
Yes.
Okay. Noted. Do you have long hair flowing back as this vehicle is diving down out of the clouds?
I have long hair with an undercut.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like it's shaved on one side and the rest of it's flowing down. It hits like waist length.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Who would be in the passenger seat, shotgun, next to... well, I need all these character names in front of me. Next to Nyx.
I can do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Locks it on old one, Warlock.
Yes. So large and not in charge at all.
Mm-hmm.
I did, however, go through and I did notice that I have a +4 in perception. So while not in the back seat, I do think I would be pointing out driving suggestions as we are diving towards the earth.
Shotgun driving.
And, yeah, 100%. Yeah, just and friends yell at me for this in multiplayer games, but it's like, oh no, over there, over there. What are you doing over there? Look out for that.
Oh yeah, without any indication of where that is. Yeah.
More or less, I think my wisdom isn't too bad, so I will interject that as the moment needs. So, oh, big truck, dead ahead, turn.
We're not going forward.
Yeah.
And that is exactly Nyx's reaction every time he does that. I'm like, we're not going forward. They're not. It's fine. You don't know. They're doing a thing. We're doing a different thing. We're good.
Okay. So Alaebas and no. Alaebas is our. Oh yeah. Alaebas and Zay. Jeez.
It's on the Zoom, Jason.
It's hidden behind the Zoom in OBS. So I watch OBS to make sure it's running right. So that's what I got. We're gonna have updated name tags next time, so everything will be all right. The two of you are in the back of this thing. One of you is holding onto the box, and the other one is what was in my head? Shoot, I had a whole thing in mind, and then Rob ruined it.
Whatever the crazy thing is, Alaebas will do it.
I don't know if it was a crazy thing. It's not like someone's jumping out.
No.
Okay, well, which one of you has a hand on the crate? I mean, the crate is strapped down, but out of the two of you, who of you would be nervous about where the crate is?
I think I would be nervous about the crate and it staying where it needs to be and not doing anything crazy.
All right, tell us what Zay looks like.
Currently, Zay has taken on the
and not to be confused with the fact that Zay uses they them pronouns, so that's important.
If it is too confusing, I can change it. I don't mind.
No, I just felt like that was worth noting.
But I think so Zay currently looks like an orc.
Okay.
Because we're on this transport mission and they thought it would be appropriate to look a little bigger, a little more intimidating. I mean, not that they are normal orc sized, but like a small orc.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, just and then so currently they have a male appearance. Mm-hmm. But whatever, in general, Zay always chooses kind of a kurta pajama look, mm-hmm. In terms of clothing. So gender neutral clothing.
Sure.
But currently body masculine.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me. And Zay, what's in the box?
What is in the box, Jason?
I'm asking you.
Oh God! So we're transporting this box, and it's got straw sticking out of it. You can see
straw. It's it's like the kind of box you nail shut. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something in there packed in straw, and this thing has been nailed shut, and there's a strap holding it down in the sort of cargo bay. There's nothing else in the cargo of this skiff, for lack of a better word. It's just this crate.
Do we go thematic for the day?
I would say that we are transporting a new rare valuable item for House Orion. It's like it's something of great value to them, either a vase or a lamp kind of accessory mm-hmm. type thing.
Sure.
May or may not hold a genie.
Yeah, we can hope.
Didn't Nyx have like a like I don't want to say like kind of like a worship of one of the people from that house? Maybe we're running an errand for that person because you're trying to get in the goods.
Yes, I am obsessed with one of the.
I thought we were obsessed with House Orion,
Mm-hmm.
or you were, and you kind of roped us all into this.
I kind of roped us all into it.
I thought there was a
And-
specific person.
Yeah, I thought
It was a member of the house. It was a member of House Orion. It was like the. I don't think we actually specified, but let's do that. I idolize, the heir, the youngest or the oldest child of the younger generation.
Yeah, I remember we had a name at one point, but I didn't have it collected in my notes. But yeah, let's say it's this
Lorian Orion.
No, thank you.
Aww.
Let's have a different name.
Wait. Are you saying no to one of your players?
I'm Xing the name Lorian. So
I'm Xing the name Sky.
So what's that?
I'm Xing the name Sky.
Okay, you'd like it
Alright.
to not be Sky? Okay, that's fine. Let's go. Let's see. House Orion is mostly humans. I remember looking up human Breland names last time. I know that I. Okay, so let's go. So Breland is a pretty varied country, which is mostly humans, but it contains not all the humans look alike, right? This because we need to do better. House Orion has a lot.
Sheldon.
What's that? What'd you say?
Sheldon.
Sheldon.
That's one that popped up in the brief folk name generator.
Okay. Although I was thinking it was a woman. I mean, a woman could be Sheldon.
Oh.
I guess.
I thought she. Okay.
Maybe it's someone non-binary.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
What about Corvus? That came up in the
I like
chat.
Corvus.
I like that
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
It's
sure.
cool.
Okay. I like it. So we'll go with Corvus.
But if they recently came out as. Sorry. What if they recently came out as non-binary and that's why Nyx is like, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say their name is actually Corvus Orion, like they're a literal scion of that house, and that is so we are transporting Corvus's something. Pooja.
Like it's a new acquisition that they made.
Like an art, a piece
Yeah,
of
like
art
it
or
is
something,
it's
or
a
an
piece
antiquity.
Oh, you know what? I think this will be cool. Like, there was a recent excavation in one of the war-torn zones,
Ooh.
and this piece has significance to Corvus, but we don't know why.
I love it.
Okay. So we know it was acquired, and I think you all had to go get it because the person who had it was not inclined to make it available. How does that sound?
Sure.
Even better, what if you all weren't even asked, like Corvus did not ask you to do this, they were just expressing their disappointment. And Nyx was like, I know how to fix the situation.
That's totally what I was thinking too.
that fit our group?
That sounds accurate.
Okay, so what we have is a portrait. It turns out it's quite large, and there wouldn't be room for anything else in the bed of the truck. It's like a 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide portrait in a frame, like gilt edge frame and all that stuff in a big flat case. That's crate that's nailed shut and packed with straw and is
Is it getting older?
well, I don't know if you all got a good look at it, because I think it has a protective cover on it. You're like, yeah, okay, cool, this is it, and Actually, it was probably in the crate when you got there, and it's just numbered, right? It has like an item number that you all figured out. This was the right thing. Cool, grab it. Oops, run. So, Eli, looking back up at the clouds that you just came out of, who or what does Alaebas see coming out of the clouds chasing after you? Did somebody's Kim Possible alarm just go off? I thought I heard a Kim Possible beep.
Yes, that was me. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. What's the stitch?
Yeah, it's a good timing.
Eli, make it something that's not going to kill us.
Doves.
Stay Puff Marshmallow Man. If you
For the
wanted to be
podcast
doves,
listeners,
I could do that. Was that a serious?
Sorry, Eli's thinking for the podcast listeners.
Yeah,
It was a very pensive face.
yeah.
Very.
It's still pensive.
Still pensive. Still thinking. I want to say that whoever we stole it from, it's their guards.
Well,
Or
yeah.
they lift it from.
Okay.
We didn't steal it. No. We did not steal it. Other people may have had it in their possession and they may have wanted it. We did not steal it.
I see.
Just making that clear.
I like that the Warlock is making a moral argument to the Paladin. That's that's great,
If they wanted to keep it, they should have kept it under better lock and key.
right?
Undo.
Yeah. Anything that I could pry up is not nailed down.
Either that or
Get
'cause I was
good,
trying to-
scrub.
Yeah, it's the house guard of the previous not benefactor of this portrait.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we'll go with an actual. I don't think you went to another dragon marked house to do this. This was just a private collector. Yeah, okay. We have a skiff with several guards chasing you down out of the clouds.
Can I change that to be less to be more like a criminal syndicate? Like maybe this was on the black market, and then that's when the person found out. So now we have criminal ties.
We
Yeah,
were
I mean-
freeing
to-
it
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
those people that wanted to hold on to it for personal gain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you all had criminal ties before today, so that's fine.
Let's.
I
don't
mean,
talk
you all
about
have ties to Nyx, so you had ties to.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Lies.
They just have a different way of doing things. You know what I'm saying?
Sup.
Okay, so what does Alaebas look like as we're diving down out of the sky? I think it's probably like 5 p.m, and the sun is still pretty high up, but it's cloudy. So you have this kind of strange twilight. Because I think originally we had described this as being in the spring, but we're actually going to say it's early summer in Sharn, which makes it pretty hot and sweaty. It's kind of a like not the most humid, like Tokyo humid is probably a good example. You know, not like actual middle of a jungle somewhere, but like somewhere that's going to be pretty humid. So I think that's what Sharn is like to me. So, what does Alaebas look like?
He has kind of like brownish tones to him, because remember how I said that he kind of like changes with the seasons.
Mhm.
So now that it's summer, his armor and hair and skin is a little bit more tan to brown.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then since he's in his armor, he looks not really comfortable, but I mean, it's basically like his home, like he's in it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like he's adjusting a lot, trying to get used to this new humidity.
Yeah, in your full plate mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did we determine who all? Does anybody have a ring of Featherfall, or do you all just have that one token that I gave you?
I have the Ring of Featherfall because I live there and have my whole life.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah.
So everyone else just has a token of Featherfall.
Yep.
Not that that's important. I was just curious.
And we're going to use it right now.
The DM giveth, the DM taketh away.
Well, what we're going to do is one of the best things that I thought D&D 4th edition did, and 5th edition has not officially codified, but I really like a skill challenge. And we're going to do a skill challenge where you have to get a certain number of successes before you get 3 failures. We're going to make it 6 successes before you get 3 fails. And it's going to be relatively moderate difficulty. And you can pitch what skills you want to do. Like it's like Nyx is driving this thing. Nyx, you're going to need to roll something related to driving, right?
X.
But yeah, we'll figure that out. But as we go through, what I mean is y'all can kind of pitch whatever it is. Like Rob, you were talking about being the side seat driver, and any of you can sort of say like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, or like we're not really in combat, so any spell that you do is more like trying to create a more holistic effect versus like I do 8 points of damage to that thing. The idea is y'all are going to get where you're going. The point of a skill challenge isn't like, do you crash to your death, right? The point is, do you get there and shake the chase? Do you get there and, out of the clear and break the tail? Or do you get there sort of sliding into an alleyway and tumbling out and maybe taking some damage? Or maybe you get there and the chase has to continue now on foot because they caught up to you. Do you get there and have to cash in some favors for someone to hide you? Those would all be potential consequences of failing the skill challenge. Does that make sense? Concept?
But we won't fail, so none of your consequences matter.
That's not at all what I said. Anyone else have comments of consequence?
Nope.
Okay, so we can go in any order, but I would like to have Nick start since they're driving. And we don't have like a specific driving skill, but I imagine you grew up here, you know how to drive a skiff. So I'm just going to have you do your dexterity plus your proficiency bonus. So
remind me where the proficiency bonus would be on the...
it's 2. Everyone has the same proficiency, which is nice about this. So it'll be your dex bonus.
And if you're looking at D&D Beyond, your proficiency has like a little dot on it if you want to add those. The math's already done, but just as a reminder.
You're looking at saving throws, Rob.
No, skills.
Yeah, there's no driving skill, though. That's what I'm saying.
I see.
Yes,
we're just doing a custom roll here.
I see. Okay, so it's my dex mod plus proficiency skill.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think it's just plus 5.
Yeah, that'd be plus 5.
Okay, so you roll 2d10.
Yep. I get 6 plus 5 is 11.
Okay, that's not a success. So,
so excited about it, but yet
it's not a crash. I mean, you get 3 failures before the worst happens, but we do start with an X, which is great. Not to be confused with the X card. X versus check marks. So we have 1 fail, which is awesome. Nyx, as you're driving down, you're lining this up. You've got the perfect shortcut to blast through this alleyway that you know. And as soon as you turn down the alleyway, there is just a slow moving like cabbage truck going by that you then have to like dip down under, and the truck bobs up and you scrape the wall, and we have somebody joining the stream. Hi, do you want to come up here? No? Okay, well then don't bother me. It's my dog, not a kid, don't worry. I don't know how you're supposed to talk to kids, but probably not like that.
Not like that.
It's actually pretty close to the same way.
Okay.
It's probably for the best,
Yeah.
because I don't need to be reminded now how much Janet hates me.
Oh yeah.
Like really? Like it's
So
surprising.
I wonder if
So
she
much.
would recognize you on screen. That'd be funny. Yeah, you try to cut through this alleyway, and it is obscured through no fault of it. Like, there's no way you could have anticipated this huge truck being parked back here. And you swoop down under it, and you like throw up so much detritus, it makes it very easy for the other skiff to kind of go above and then dive down again, and they've closed the distance on how far away they are. Who would like to go next? We could also roll initiative if everyone feels more comfortable having a structure to this. I don't care. I don't roll anything in this, so it's all up to you. Okay,
Shall we
Rob.
roll initiative? Oh, okay.
We can roll initiative, but I had a thought,
Okay, Rob, you go.
and I realize these are dangerous, but potentially as we were going by, there's a lot of cabbage around. Cabbage is falling
much
off
cabbage.
said
Mhm.
truck.
My cabbages!
Mhm.
Not my
So-
cabbages.
I would like to utilize my trunk and throw some cabbage back at the driver of the other skiff.
Okay. I mean, why wouldn't you just use your hand?
I don't have fingers, dude. I
Okay.
might have fingers. I haven't researched it that much.
I think
I have
you do.
an opposable nose.
Okay.
What else do you want in life?
Okay. So let's I guess make an attack roll. So what you're describing is an improvised weapon, and so you would get your dexterity bonus but no proficiency bonus.
Okay.
If you want to do that.
Well, my dex bonus is 0, which is better than my strength bonus of -1.
Okay.
So this was well thought out.
You can choose something else if you want.
Why would I do that?
Okay. This is great.
9 and 4 is 13, plus 0 is 13.
Okay, so I'm gonna give this one to you because I should have told you guys ahead of time that your DC is 14, so that you knew
See,
to
that
roll
would have
high enough.
changed everything.
It
So,
would have. I mean, dice no.
all right.
It's
so,
like Dave in the Star Trek game. You got to tell us ahead of time.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. So the DC is 14, but I'm gonna give that one to you. So we have an X and a check. We're even across the board. We only need 5 more check marks for this to go well. So no problem. Oh, also, if you roll a critical success, that counts as 2 check marks, and if you roll a critical failure, that's 2 X's, which would end the skill challenge. So
What if instead of getting 2 check marks, we eliminate an X with a critical success?
no, I don't
No?
negotiate.
You don't negotiate
With
Wait, we're
terrorists.
terrorists now?
Just Claire.
Listen, if you don't,
Oh, well, that makes sense.
fair. If you don't ask, the answer is no.
Yeah,
That's what I know.
Yeah, you miss all the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to Alaebas or Zay.
I nominate Alaebas to go next
Okay.
while I try to figure out what I want to do.
Like, what's in the scene right now
so,
that it
Alaebas,
wouldn't be?
Your
Am I on mute?
your skiff. We took a hard turn to dive down an alleyway between 2 buildings close to each other, and when you got in there, it turned out there was a great big floating truck that was full of cabbages that we ducked under. Your friend Ventuz snagged one of the cabbages and flinged it backwards, and managed to ping it off the front of the skiff that's following you, and it didn't really hurt them at all, but it did. They flinched and sort of, went off course for a second, and so they lost a little bit of ground. But this skiff is catching up as the 4 of you are whooshing out of this alleyway to hopefully find another getaway spot.
Could there be like a banner for what's the religious group we don't like?
Oh, the sacred
Silver Flame.
Silver Flame, yeah.
That he could cut to try to get in the way of, or maybe some sort of like clothing lines where clothes could be draped between buildings.
Oh yeah, clothing lines is an easy get.
Okay.
Let's do. Let's see. I don't think there's a skill for yanking clothing lines.
Well, he has a longsword.
But just cutting them, I think, would get them out of the way. So I don't know if that's going to be as helpful. Let's do.
I feel like it would be dex and strength because you have to catch it and then you have to yank it.
Let's just do. We could do a strength check. That's fine. I know your dexterity isn't super high, so let's do strength. Probably no proficiency bonus again because this is pretty wild.
Okay.
So just the 2 dice plus
That's a
2.
15, Alex.
Oh, nice. So we have another check mark on the board.
Yay!
Fantastic.
Yay.
Yeah,
team.
you reach up and grab this clothesline as you go by, and it doesn't break, but it does snap back, and a bunch of the clothes flutter off and like cover the front of the skiff that's following you, and they're going off course for a second, losing ground, and they're having to look for you again as they get their bearings. And some guys leaning out the window like, "Hey, my shirts! What are you doing?" And
My cabbages.
yeah,
And shirts.
yeah. So he owns the truck and the shirts. The same guy. My cabbage shirts. He
My
makes
cabbage
shirts.
shirts.
He made shirts out of cabbage. So famous in this part of town.
I mean, the hipsters don't wear anything nowadays.
Yeah.
So, Zay, what are you gonna do to make this better?
I'm going to take on just the voice of the person that we acquired this painting from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm gonna yell at the people in the back and just be like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?"
So are they meant to think that they've been chasing their boss?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that, like, my idea is that to make them think like you've got the wrong vehicle. Like,
Okay.
I told you to follow the people. Why are you still following me? Stop.
Okay. I'd be open to a persuasion roll on that.
Sweet. I got a +5 on that. So I'm pretty happy. That didn't work. Cool. 7 + 9 is 16 + 5 is a 21.
Hey, okay, we got our third check mark. We're 1 and 3, so doing great.
Yeah, but it's my turn again.
Yeah, let's check in with Nyx for another driving check. If you want to do something other than Dex, I'm open to it at this point. If you have an idea of something else you want to do.
I mean, Dex is my strongest. I feel like, I
mean, some other ideas might be things like investigation for looking for a getaway route, or stealth. Maybe there's a way to work stealth into this. I'm not sure how, but if you can make a case for it.
What about deception? Like, I'm going to try and feign like I'm going one way, but really I'm going another way.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's take a shot at that. I like
Okay.
A feint.
Feint.
that. Yeah.
That will be a 16, Alex.
Heck yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Like you're Trebek.
Sure.
I haven't forgotten your name.
That's all right. Okay. So we're 1 and 4. There's no way this could go wrong now.
Oh, why would you even say that?
Welcome to gaming with me, Claire. Sorry. This is. I don't know why I'm like.
No,
this,
I love
but
it.
This is what
I
I'm
love
like.
it. No, that's perfect.
Speaking of being like this, Rob.
I was born this way.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do. Well, I don't know, Jason. Here's the question: if I'm looking for the correct route, like a very tight, if Nyx had success with the feint.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, actually, hold on a second. Nyx, what was the total of your roll?
The total of my roll was 16.
Oh, 16. Okay, because remember, 18, 19, 20 is critical success for us, so that was
Right.
close.
Well, but it was a roll of 10 plus I have 6 with my deception.
Yeah, okay. So that was close, but not a critical success. So
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah, the 10 isn't that close. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you now. Okay, Rob, what were you saying?
So would it be a perception roll, an insight roll, or an investigation roll to figure out the best possible route post feint?
Investigation.
You would pick that. So I'm going to look for the best possible route.
And just so it's been said, you all will almost never instigate a perception roll. That's something I'll ask you to do. The way that perception's written is it's like being aware of things happening to you. And investigation is the roll for looking for something.
So draconian.
I mean,
okay.
You want to play D&D, that's what it says.
Whatever. Don't use my words back at me.
They're the most hurtful things I can think of, Rob.
That's true.
Snap.
Fair. My investigation is a 14 in order to find the most optimal route.
Yeah, that's a success. So your bossy side commentary, what does that look like? As you notice there's a like a tunnel, not a tunnel, but like a bridge that if you die, how does that go? Let's have that in character.
So it's a poke in the head from the trunk, and the arm pointing that way.
Use your words, Ventuz, and I follow what he's doing.
Okay. So you don't say anything? You just
like it's all nonverbal excited words.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're one success away from closing out this skill challenge. Word flew out of my mind. So let's just do the same order. Pooja, what do you want to do? As we're diving for this bridge to disappear under.
Yeah, it's not my turn.
Oh, did Alaebas go after?
Yeah. He
Ventuz?
was
sorry.
next.
I have a thought, guys, but it might be a tag team maneuver between Zay and Alaebas, where if he could rip open the box and we just chuck the box so it seems like it fell out, and then we hold on to the portrait.
Oh, well, okay, so remember the portrait's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, but he's strong.
I know, but like to rip okay, I would have you, yes, you could definitely try that. I'm going to have you roll with disadvantage because it's so huge and unwieldy. But that's fine.
Well, how do I do disadvantage?
So you roll the 2 dice and get a total, and then we'll roll it again and take the worst total.
That's 15. And that is... Do I add my strength?
Well, not before. I mean, what's the total on the dice?
10.
Okay, so we have to take the 10.
Okay.
Then 10 plus your strength modifier.
Is 2.
So 12.
Or can I throw in athletics?
I don't think this is a sport.
All right.
Athletics is for like climbing, swimming, that kind of stuff. So I think raw strength is pretty good.
What about acrobatics? No, is that what he said?
No, you said athletics, but that's not a strength-based skill.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a
yoga
dex
helps
base.
build out strength.
Yeah, that's reflected in your strength score.
All right.
How about this? If I am helping him, can I negate his disadvantage?
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to help. And your first roll was the 15, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I love that. That's
And
great.
then it'd be 17 with the strict modifier.
Okay, well, the two of you please describe how you rip open this box that is bigger than either of you, take out the painting, and toss it out in the time that you're under the bridge and out of view. Take it away.
Because couldn't we use the sword for leverage?
I think so. Like, so you have like you pry open the front of the box with your sword, and I use and I get the back. Like, I pull the painting out from the opening. Like, when you've pried open like one side, and I pull the painting out while you hold it open, and then you just like let the lid go down.
Okay.
So it is not the like smoothest way we could have done this, but it is the fastest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're real lucky that we didn't fuck it up real bad.
Do you then just keep the lid on the sword, like keep the sword in the lid and just flick it back behind you, letting the box fly off the sword?
I think you wanted to dump the whole box out, right? So that they would think.
Yeah, like our little cool move made the box come loose and we lost it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So with that, you have completed the skill challenge. However, you're in this very precarious swooping maneuver. And Zay, I'd like you to make a dex saving throw.
Oh, no. Zay or Nyx?
Zay.
Okay.
So
I know we all look alike to you, so...
That's not what I said.
why can't I... There we go. I get what I'm doing wrong here. I got a 13.
Okay, yeah, I think that's reasonable. You kind of like fall down in the bed of the skiff with this painting on top of you. I mean, it's huge, and the frame is so heavy. You know, your adrenaline in the moment, the two of you got it out of there, and he was able to kick the box out of the back, and this enormous painting just like, boom, boom, like falls onto you in the back of the skiff. And I think the problem is, like, yeah, you could like tear through the painting and get out of it, but you're trying not to damage it. I think
I'm holding it like I've got a really weird grip on it because I'm trying to only hold it at the frame.
Yes.
And I'm like, I have no leverage.
And your -1 strength is probably a component to this.
Oh, shit.
I actually, like, before we started, I switched my stats up a little bit.
Oh,
so I do have a +1. I have a +1 strength and a -1 wisdom.
Okay.
Hence me thinking this is a great idea.
Okay. Excellent.
Fair.
But I do have I have no leverage to get this thing off of me without messing it up. And I am trying not to mess it up because I know how much impressing Corvus means to Nyx.
Aww.
And as silly as I think it is to continue to try to impress these people who really do not like us at all.
Yeah.
If it makes you happy.
You're still a bro. Aww.
But I am underneath this painting basically going like trying to with both my arms above my head, trying to push the frame up, but I can't get any leverage because I'm laying flat on my back.
It's awkward, and this thing is big. It probably weighs more than you do. This is like,
what is it a painting of?
Well, remember, it has the, I guess actually you wouldn't tear through the painting because it has that safety cover on it. So what you have is a painting, and you know, like, you peeked inside real quick, it's like, okay, that's a painting of a person. All right, boom. And then put the safety cover back on. And so you're sort of pinned under this hard wooden panel that is protecting the front of the painting. And, you know, sort of pinned down under, like, okay, how do I get out of this without wrecking everything? And the four of you are able to break away from the pursuit as they turn to their perceived, like, aha, there's no way they could have taken the painting out in that amount of time. That's impossible. And they swerve to collect the lost item, which is more important to them than finding you. They can send an investigator after you at some point. So, and these guys aren't technically city watch. Like, they don't really have any authority to attack you in the street. So, they go after the crate. And Nix, you're able to bring the skiff back to... Did we say you all lived in the dock ward, or you all just know a bunch of people there?
We did not. I don't think we said where we lived.
Okay, well, we should decide that.
I know. When we talked about our location,
Mm-hmm.
one of the answers was there's a problem with your location, and that it was the docks were sinking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
I kind of
thought Sharn
assumed.
was sinking as a whole,
Oh no,
like Venice style.
No, that it's just the ducks. Sharn sinking would be like a world-ending problem, because it would mean all of the air magic here isn't working anymore.
Oh, that would
I
be
thought
bad.
that was kind of the issue.
Oh.
This is what I thought was happening.
Oh, okay. No, it's just part of the, like, the docks have to be in the water, and I think that's like messing with the magic or something. Like, I don't know if you all know exactly what's happening. But the docks are sinking a little bit slowly, but a lot of the city of Sharn is just hovering. Like, it's not even attached to the ground. So that's not going to fall into the water anytime soon. Glad we got that cleared up.
Yeah, if that started sinking, we'd have bigger problems.
Yeah.
I thought we had big problems.
I thought we were staying at the
You have level 4 problems.
We have
I
level
thought we
4
were staying
problems.
at the
Level 10
Adventurers
problems.
Guild.
What'd you
For some
say?
reason, I thought we were staying at the Adventurers Guild. For some reason, that's like kind of like sticking out in my head.
The Adventurers Guild is something the 4 of you are familiar with, but it's not like an inn or like a place to
Oh, gotcha.
stay. It's a place to go get work.
Wasn't it close to like more of the working center, like where the more blue collar aspect of things were?
Yeah.
How long have we been together as a group?
Well, at least the last couple levels. I remember is what I said last time. So that's probably a year's worth of adventuring or so at this level. Like, it's
'Cause I would theoretically have like a pretty, maybe what someone might call modest, but would really be like comfortable dwelling. That if we'd been together for a year and I hadn't like disappeared and never spoken to you again, I probably would have been like, come to my pad. It's
Okay.
cool.
that's cool. We can start with that,
We've got a studio, docks adjacent.
like an open floor plan.
Oh no,
it
there's
sounds like.
bedrooms.
Okay, all right, cool.
All right, cool. So you probably park on the roof with a bunch of other skiffs and random vehicles and things that are up there. What do you call it? The
Crash pad.
yeah, I mean, it's just
Landing pad.
parking on the roof.
Landing
Yeah. So it's there are a few people kind of wandering around, but at this point you all are no longer in the chase. So this is the advantage of having won the skill challenge, right? Is you're just coming home and you have a big painting in the back of your skiff. It's not like you're skidding to a halt and trying to hide or something. So the one thing that I will say though is that the painting being out of the case looks immediately valuable, right? It's this big sort of gilt edge carved, fancy frame with all the fancy bits all over it, and it's painted, and it's a gorgeous looking frame. It's not the sort of thing you put your refrigerator drawing in, and the 4 of you parking the skiff and picking this thing up to carry it inside definitely at least raise a couple eyebrows of like, wow, that painting is worth probably thousands of gold. Like, regardless, like the frame is worth hundreds of gold alone. And you don't put that kind of frame around a piece of shit painting.
Anybody's eye that I catch that's kind of looking at it with that arched eyebrow and kind of pensive look, I'm going to shoot like a very narrowed I mild intimidation to be like, you don't want none of this.
Ooh, I like that. Let's roll intimidation.
Let's roll intimidation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we shall. A 0 and a 6 would be a 16.
Yep.
Plus a 3 would be a 19.
19, a dirty 19. Okay.
Come to me.
Yeah, okay, so you all are unloading. I imagine you're able to do this because you're not helping carry anything. Is that accurate?
That I'm able to shoot people dirty glances?
Yeah.
No, I figured like I'm helping. Like I figured all 4 of us, or at least 3 of us, maybe not Nyx, is helping to carry it. No. No offense, Claire. Just I figured you're doing your thing. Whatever that may be.
Well, that's a good
And
question.
so-
Is Nyx helping carry the painting?
She's probably getting rope out of her pack to be like, oh, we can tie it up and make a thing and make a backpack. What are you doing? Why are we doing it this way?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to be able to take it down the stairs, to the,
Oh.
if you picture like that New York style roof access door and then down the stairs to wherever.
Okay.
Pivot.
Pivot.
Yeah.
Pivot.
So you may have to take it down the side of the building and go in your window.
Okay. Is my window big enough?
Yeah, probably.
It is now.
If you roll well, it is. But as you're unloading and getting this thing up and ready to go, you're drawing a few glances, and Ventuz turns around and just gives folks the stink eye, and immediately everyone around is like, "Well, I was busy with a lot of other things that aren't anything to do with this. Goodbye and good day."
Would we all have noticed that?
I think so, yeah, because you were getting some attention, and Ventuz, I don't know, maybe you like clear your throat a little bit, Rob?
I think it would be more the silent, like one of those stares that you can feel.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like you've done something wrong as a child and your mother knows it.
Yeah.
Ah.
And I think also, this has to come with the territory a little bit with a Path of the Old One, what's it called?
It's I made a
Pact.
deal with the old one.
Yeah,
A
pact. Yeah.
Pact.
I'm
a packed animal.
This pact represents making a deal with something that is somewhat madness inducing, right? Like it's that like really intense person you'd meet on the street. You're like, I think I'm just going to cross the street and take the other sidewalk for now because that guy is a lot. And yeah, you turn that stare on the few people gathered on the roof, and everyone has something better to do and turns around to do it. So, the question is, do we want to unload this here, try and get into the apartment? Do you want to take it over to House Orion somewhere and hopefully get, I don't think you actually know Corvus personally. Is that accurate?
I think we met him. Right? We met him after we stopped.
Oh, that's right. They know that you all stopped a thing. Oh, that you had to break the spoke. When you saved the spoke, it required the destructive thing that you did. And Corvus knows and appreciates it, but they haven't, it's impossible for them to tell the whole city, no, these guys did what they had to do. So
right.
Most of the city knows that you all broke the spoke. And they also know the public story of it was kind of the only way to do it. But what we decided is that most people also have this feeling of there was probably a better way to do what they did. Yeah, it had to get done, but really, it was that?
Right.
So, Corvus is somebody who was able to compensate you for helping out with the city, and I think maybe you had helped Corvus or saved Corvus in the act of that or something, and so was witness to that, and they have said what they could to sort of, you're not arrested, right? None of you were fined,
right.
But you also didn't get the key to the city, because y'all are loose cannons that can't be trusted. So make your own rules, just like me.
Yeah.
So options include taking this into your apartment and taking it over to House Orion.
Are we sure we want to unload this here, guys?
Nope, we are not.
I'm just saying, like, we've already had to stick Ventuz on my neighbors. Maybe we should just take this where it's going. Is all I'm saying.
Do you have a way to contact him?
I mean, we know where he lives. We know where they live. We could just go. I could go downstairs, get a little ribbon, put a bow on it, put it in their front yard. You know. Happy Christmas.
Don't they have some sort of art gallery maybe that we could donate this to? Or do we specifically need to make the...
I think Corvus definitely has an art gallery, but dropping off stolen art at a public gallery is probably problematic.
Yeah, it'd probably be better for their private collection.
Do we have a way to contact him, like messenger, or did you get anything when you met them?
I mean, I've got a little necklace thing that says I met Corvus Orion.
That you made when you got home.
Listen, yes, but also rude. No, I don't have a way to contact him beyond, showing up at his doorstep.
I mean, you could call any messenger service in town and ask them to, like, it's sort of like, FedEx, like, you can send them something. Who knows if they'll actually get it or when, but...
I was going to say, they'd be as likely to take it. I'd just as soon hire... You know what we could do? We could go to the Bards Guild. We could hire a representative to introduce us so that we could present the portrait.
I don't know if you'd want a misappropriated portrait presented to him in a very formal and public
This is a very appropriated portrait. I will have you know. There's nothing misappropriated about it.
I think what we might want to do, we know where they live. And we know where they work. We know that they have an office, correct?
Oh,
So
yeah. They're sort of gentry, right? So that
I was going to say, I don't think they work.
I mean, I use work really loosely.
I mean, there is now, to be fair, there is the
To be fair.
to be fair.
I'm so glad I wasn't the only one. Okay.
House Orion is the house of transportation, right? And so the trains are run through them, the passenger boats and shipping and airships and everything goes through the spoke, right? So I think at the top of the spoke there is an office that's like, kind of looks like a cross between a Hertz and a ticketing counter and a whatever. Like you could go in there,
but like at the same time, like I feel like House Orion would have kind of a business center, even if it's just like a wing of the house that's used more for for bringing, like for taking meetings and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
And Corvus as heir
Hair of the family.
I like hair. Yeah, I'm gonna go with hair from now on.
As heir would have like a an office kind of room, even if it's just like a glorified extra bedroom where they
certainly have an office in the mansion where they could take meetings and do that sort of thing.
And I think that we just hold on to this until, say, tonight, and we drop it off for them there where they're not really likely to be, because I don't think that they spend a lot of time there, let alone a lot of nights. And that way we get in, get out.
Now,
no one is the wiser.
If you're talking about delivering it to house staff, that's pretty straightforward. If we're talking about unbreaking into the house. This is probably one of the most powerful houses in Sharn. It'd be like House Orion, House Thrashk, and House... what's the Storm house called? House of the Storm.
Nix and I have gotten into one of their events before. So even if it's not tonight, if we like get into another event, if they have one coming up, and use that as a disguise.
House Lyander.
Lyrandar?
Lyrandar.
Lyrandar.
Yeah, Lyrandar. Yes, that's those are probably the big three here. And all of the houses have pull, but
or we can pose as contractors who are redecorating their office.
Is it?
And we go in during the day.
Sorry, is this conversation in game, right? Like, are we in character right now?
Yeah, like I'm totally just floating random ideas.
I like that as a good backup. Alternatively, we could just go to the side service gate and say, this is a present from an admirer, and drop it off.
Because it sounds stalkery. It sounds like that's not going to be...
I'm not understanding the question.
It sounds accurate.
I mean, but the idea is not to sound so stalkery. So you know what? Let's just get a new crate. We stick it in there and say, hey, delivery.
Yeah, I think that's what Nix was saying, right? Basically.
Yeah, like we
I feel like there were some key differences.
So my concern with posing as a contractor is along the same lines as your concern. I don't want to seem stalkery. So perhaps...
Too late for that for your end. But
listen.
You're right. I'll give you that, and I'll say, hey, if we drop it off, but we need to put it in another box.
Well, hold on. What's our goal overall? Like, do we want them to realize that we're the ones that got it for them? Like, do we want to get more in their good graces, or do we just want to give them something that they wanted?
Well, they know us as the adventuring group with the branding issue, meaning we don't have
knows us as that.
So if we just leave a little card that says from the Sharn Misfits, that's that they'll know it's from us.
Heard you offhandedly talked about this portrait, so we decided to go steal it from a corporate syndicate to give it to you.
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah,
that's more than 240 characters.
Oh, well, we don't have to worry about that.
Well, we're not sending a tweeting bird. It's fine.
Misfits of Sharn.
No, that is not our name. Vetoed.
We're having a branding issue.
You have to in-character veto that. Oh, I love it. Okay.
I did in-character veto that.
Good. No, we're not. Stop making Misfits of Sharn try to happen.
Okay. Sharn
that is not dragon.
Fits. That is so not dragon. That is so not dragon. You're right. So what would be the most dragon way to drop this thing off? Sorry, my pillow keeps trying to be in the game here.
Well, for what it's worth, the idea of going around to the side door and dropping this off, whether it's in a crate or not in a crate, although some kind of protection would be nice because it's real cloudy and humid, and that afternoon or that evening rain could come anytime. It's not as weird to just drop something off because house staff probably have okay, is this dangerous? No? Okay, bring it inside and we'll figure it out. It's not like modern day real world where you would never accept, you'd be like, I don't know what this huge thing is. That's crazy. I'm not bringing that in the house. You could do some pretty basic detection spells on something like this and see if it's safe enough to bring inside at least.
I've got it. We write a note. It says, this is not the biggest portrait in the world. This is a tribute. And we leave it by the door, and that's how we do it.
Do we
No.
identify ourselves so that they can reach out with a message? Of either
Sure.
thanks or whatever.
We'll call ourselves the Spoke Breakers.
Also be
I thought we wanted to
That's-
rebrand in a
that's-
positive manner.
That's better.
It's worse.
The
Zay-
spoken
Spoke
Zay
for?
again.
Fixers.
We had a
Spoke
good idea.
Fixers.
We had a good idea last week, and I don't remember what it was.
Well, with Alaebas
Why?
and Zay, you could be A to Zay.
Hey.
Oh god.
Just I
We're having
think
a branding issue.
I think just hold on, I'm getting a character voice.
Oh, the
I-
bespoked.
The bespoke. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Spoke. That is what it was.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thanks, James.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Cheers.
That's what it was.
Cheers for that.
Good job,
Awesome.
buddy.
Oh snap! They actually remembered. That's amazing.
Awesome.
My drink
It's
won't
our
show up
safety
on
net.
Zoom, but yes, thank you, sir. Yes. So the bespoke. That way they know to contact you, so that you can start engaging in further conversation in order to further whatever goals you have with this person.
I just want to have tea.
That's
Jesus.
fine. Maybe don't
Anyway.
put that in the note.
Admiral
No,
Pooja.
no. That would be weird. Can't ask them to have tea. But
So we could do that, but first we really should. I mean, one way or another, we need to put this in a box because it kind of sucked to go through all of that to get it, just to have it get rained on.
do I have a box? I
Well,
might have a
probably not.
box.
But I mean, y'all live in the dock ward. It's pretty
We could
easy
get a
to
box.
go pick up a crate and yeah.
I bet we can pick one up just down the way from Shorty.
Yeah, you could drive this, fly the skiff down there, repack this thing, take it over to the house. I think that sounds like a montage to me. Sort of.
It's a montage.
Yeah. We move through that. Anything we need to do in particular before we drop that thing off with the note?
I'm
and
gonna shift my appearance to. I'm gonna go for more of a nondescript, like, that shade of brown we were told that we would all be by
Oh, right.
2045,
Yeah.
with like middling, like kind of darker brown hair, like a few shades darker than my skin, but
Uh-huh.
like eyes that are the exact same shade.
Sure.
And I'm gonna go for like that human look.
Okay.
Like overalls, kind of worker style.
Yes. Like it's
I'm-
just basically like the most ND humanoid that I could come up with.
Okay. The most average.
Yes. I
Got
am
it.
the
Generic.
average of averages.
Okay.
Oh, one.
Aggressively average.
I'm keeping this face. They haven't seen it yet. What?
Okay. All right. So we get the thing dropped off. The house staff is like they don't even blink. They're like, "Oh, okay, delivery for Corvus. All right, thank you. Goodbye."
Wait, but could you be careful? It's,
Have a great night.
It's very delicate. Don't drop it, please. I
Yeah.
just walk. Like I stand there. Like if like there's a gate outside the walls, I stand there at the gate, like watching them until it gets into the house
Yeah.
and like listening.
And of course, the house staff of House Orion probably are paid more than level 4 adventurers at the Adventurers Guild, right? In a year,
Right.
They're
They're being very indulgent by allowing me to watch them take it
right,
inside.
right. They're
Yeah.
extremely professional and proper, and full Downton Abbey on that. It's
Yeah.
And although I usually picture, just so we know, like I think House Orion is described as mostly human, but I think of them as human and gnome as a mix of folks, like
Gnomen?
families that have
No human.
merged in that way. Also, I should say, but my little tweak to the Eberron setting, they describe dragon marks as moving, as being affiliated with a species, and object to that a little bit, in that it's my version of that is that it follows your familial line. And so if you have a human parent and a gnome parent, and you're, some mix of things, you might get the mark or you might not, just because one or more of your parents had the mark. But
more of an inherited trait than a racial trait.
Yes, it's an inherited trait rather than a racial trait. Thank you.
Does that make you gnome-ish?
Yeah, it does. So that horrible transition moves us to the next part of the game. I think we're pretty good to take our break here in a minute. I know it's easier if we all take a break at the same time with this sort of remote version. When we're playing in studio, often we just sort of take a break whenever it's convenient, one at a time.
Also, there's only one bathroom then, so it makes sense that we take a break one at a time, because otherwise that's awkward.
We can all use our own bathrooms.
I never actually thought of the math of that, of there's no point in all of us taking a break at the same time, because we would have to wait in line, versus now we're all in our own homes, I assume.
No, what you talking about? I'm at the studio. Can't you see?
Yeah.
Social distance, what?
The wall behind you is doing some strange things to the back of your head.
It really is.
It's probably the stork curse trying to invade our dice rolls.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, am I in stork seat? Should I change my picture?
I mean, you have stork looking over your shoulder, that's for sure.
Yeah. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
For those of you on the
Creeping.
podcast, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're talking about our Zoom background images.
If you're not actually watching this, we're doing some amazing visuals right now.
So
I wish you could see.
If we can't, we should probably serve the D&D gods by saying we retire to a tavern scene after dropping this off. Does that work for everyone?
Sure.
Always down.
Dock Ward.
Start in a dungeon, end in a tavern. I love it.
Okay.
So the Kraken.
Yeah. Okay. The Kraken. I'm making a note. The crack in.
Can it be spelled like the
That's
Gaelic
so
word
dragon.
crack? Craic. Crack. It means speaking.
Yeah.
The crack in.
Yes, that's possible too. We've had a lot of versions. What's our final note here?
Theirs is fine for me. I didn't pay attention to the spelling, but I'll go with it.
Okay. Pooja?
I missed the question. We're going to the tavern. I'm fine.
Yes,
with that.
but we're naming the tavern something silly,
The
like
Kraken.
the Kraken or the Crack Inn or Cracked Inn.
The crack in.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yes.
It's the crack and shake.
I'm gonna skip over that one.
Shake crack.
See, this is going to ask me to.
No.
Oh my god.
All right, what does the AI spelling mean again?
Talking. It's it's Gaelic for talking.
Yeah.
For conversation.
I like that, but I think I'm gonna leave Gaelic out, and we'll just do the Kraken for now, because the folks who made it aren't that clever.
Cool.
Kraken, the Kraken, and those are all really good ideas. Though we'll bring those up when we have cleverer NPCs that we're making.
Have the
All right.
the girl and the squid.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll let's take 5, and we'll come back and do that tavern scene and see what happens next.
Cool.
Yay.
If
All right,
anybody
folks.
in chat has questions for us or for our characters, feel free to shoot them now, and we
Yeah.
can just answer as we come along.
Yeah, we'll try and keep on top of all of that, and we'll be back in 5. Thanks. Hey, welcome back. We all went to the bathroom at the same time in different bathrooms. It was very exciting. I thought about all of you while we were away, and you were close to my heart. Can you see this little face?
Oh, puppers.
Hello.
No, you can't get up here right now.
Hello.
Jason's dog is now in screen.
Yeah.
What a beautiful girl.
Yeah, she's very cute.
Oh, is she a boxer?
She's a Pitbull Chihuahua miniature poodle mix.
Wow.
So, yeah.
She's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's confused.
Beautiful mutt. No, she knows exactly what she is.
Spoiled.
Yep.
Also, she's not a girl.
That's right. Not a girl, not a robot.
Not a girl, not a robot.
Mostly good. She's mostly good. So we come back to find our heroes celebrating their huge success this evening. Just about when you're so is the Kraken bar, is this near where you live, Nix?
Sure. Yeah, it's my neighborhood pub.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So as you all are about you're like 10 feet away from the door when it seems like the sky just opens and huge, like it's a lot of rain, and they're those like big fat raindrops, like summer jungle raindrops, right? Just instantly doused as you make your way. I don't know if you hurry at that point or what, but you sort of make it into the Kraken, and there's a lot of folks there who recognize you. Did you want to say something, Claire?
I just wanted to know how difficult it would be for me to make it look like the drow face was melting off of me in the rain, and I melted into like another appearance.
Yeah. I mean,
That's nightmares.
Into however your neighbors recognize you.
Exactly.
Yeah. For your friends. Yeah, let's do a performance check. I just want to see how much you upset your friends.
Yay!
Like, I'm upset right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
That's actually a good question, though. I would be really curious to know both Zay and Nix, like, what is your default setting?
Yeah.
If there is one.
I imagine that I have a human face that I wear that you know me as.
Okay. Well, who would you describe that? I mean, how would you describe that human? Is there like an actor who would play them in the show, or
Tilda Swinton?
Tilda Swinton. Okay.
Nice.
But
That's
younger.
always a good,
But younger,
good
right?
shot.
We do know Nix is like 80 years old, but you're playing them
But
like
I present like 30.
30-year-old
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton. Okay, I have a very clear picture in my mind.
Okay.
What
was
about for
awesome.
Zay?
Zay has kind of a like more low-key look that they wear around town. And it's because Sharn is primarily, correct me if I'm wrong, like Sharn is primarily like a human town.
No, it was in the wartime when it was very Breland, but it's like, New York or LA. There's a lot of different folks living in Sharn. So
Okay.
So post-war, it's more like a melting pot.
yeah, it is now. Although there's also those post-war tensions, right? It's like, okay, well, we were at war with you a minute ago. It was only a few years ago. So, if you can imagine, like 1950 Europe is. Although I said this last time, that World War II is a bad example because you had these like clear evil villains of the Nazis. Like it's much more like World War I, where it's just
I was
like
about to
everyone
say, like,
was
the Great
mad.
War,
Yeah.
because we all got into war because of a very complicated set of alliances,
Treaties and
more than actual like hostilities.
Right. And the case with the war, the Great War that was going on here is people have been fighting for decades, right? Like a whole generation had been raised in the. Now, not all of it was a shooting war, but it was tense and there was fighting for decades. and then some sort of magic super weapon went off, wiped out the country of Syria, and there are still Syrians left, right? They weren't home, like troops that were just distributed out, sort of like Alderanians. Sorry, spoiler.
And expats.
Oh,
Yeah.
snap.
Yeah.
Spoiler. 40-year-old spoiler.
That's no moon.
Yep.
Wah,
So, but yeah, that went off, and everyone was like, "Wait, why? Why though? What just happened?" And so, we don't know. Was there an angry god? Did somebody have a magic spell? Was there just so much magic being flung around? Is there a critical mass? Since no one could answer that, no one could come up with the circumstances under which we could continue to fight. And so there was this external force saying, okay, well, we have to stop and figure something else out right now. So there's also a lot of Cold War shit going on of, underhanded dealings and theft and assassination and stuff like that. People trying to get power other ways. But that's pretty much how that goes. So.
I am gonna say though that because my initial knowledge of Sharn was more war based, that I chose a human persona to be my semi-permanent face here.
Okay.
And along that same line, Zay has kind of medium brown skin, dark brown eyes, dark brown hair, stuff it's not the super average, the most average of aggressively average persona that I had just taken on, but it's not anything that would stand out or call attention to them.
Yeah.
Because what they want to do as much as possible is to fade into the background and be overlooked, be kind of underestimated a little bit, so that when the time comes, it's unnecessary. like people aren't going to be looking at them.
Yeah.
So they can do what they have to do.
Okay.
And then generally wearing some kind of the clothes that they normally wear. It's going to be something like a salvar kameez, something like a kurta pajama look. So
something like a what?
A kurta pajama or a salvar kameez.
Oh, yes.
A long tunic, pants that are a little bit more flowy.
Yeah.
So it's easier when they change forms.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you have some
I have some room to move
Hulk
and
options.
grow. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to Hulk out and get naked.
Yeah. I mean, there are limitations to changeling changes, but yeah, that totally makes sense. You could definitely, I think it says 2 feet up or down, right?
It's something along that, yeah.
Anything that is considered a medium creature.
Right.
And they have to be roughly humanoid shape with 2 arms, 2 legs.
Right.
Head.
You can't suddenly have wings
torso.
Or a tail.
Well, you can, but they can't function.
Well, no, because that's not the same collection of limbs, though. That's a new.
It could be. I think it's can be an acro. Okay.
I'm gonna go
Sorry.
with no surprise limbs. So anyway.
Okay.
Where.
But yeah, the idea is that when Zay shifts shape, they want to be able to shift into different races that have more upper body and less leg, or less more leg and more and less upper body, and
pretend to be someone who skips leg day.
Yeah, never.
But pretend.
Yes, I mean pretend, but know that it's not true.
I like it.
Nyx's faces are more utilitarian. This is her fronting face. This is her norm. This is the face. This is the face that everybody knows.
So do you normally present with a female appearance, or do you present non-binary?
I present with an androgynous kind of female. I chose Tilda Swinton specifically because she's very androgynous. So I would say I normally swing more femme, but present more androgynous.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Does our Loxodon, Ventuz, like, do you get dressed up for the tavern? Like, what does your outfit look like normally? I guess do you wear light? Oh no, you skipped armor because you have a natural Loxodon armor, right? Yeah.
I don't have any armor. I just have tough hide.
Yeah.
And it's not really like I am far more utilitarian than anything else, right? I mean, I think that.
Dang, I was really hoping to see you like in a fancy suit that's like perfectly tailored, and like what's the guy from the Spider-Man villain?
Kingpin.
Kingpin, yeah.
Kingpin, yeah. Thank you, Kingpin.
I am not that wealthy,
Okay.
so not right now. But we are going on a journey together, so we don't know what the endpoint may be.
Okay. Does he want to dress like that? Is that a goal?
I mean, I think like my view of the world is I want to experience absolutely everything there is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I am on a quest for knowledge more than anything else.
So we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
But yeah, but if that's in the cards at some point, absolutely going to go that direction. If it's not in the cards, cool, then I'm going to go seek knowledge elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Just looking up some
I think
stuff.
Alaebas would have, like, his out of armor getup would be more robish. Like, just like palling around the temple. Like, I don't think that he would have gotten anything yet.
Oh, sure, like kind of like Jedi style robes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Alaebas is human, is that right?
No, he's wood elf.
He's what?
Wood elf.
Wood elf?
Wood elf. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that I elf?
So I think Alaebas. I mean, this is up to you, Eli. But I'm picturing like, in spite of the fact that he's got 15 strength and is pretty tough, is probably still built pretty slender. Does that sound right to you? Or are you picturing muscly?
I mean, muscly for an elf, which is slender.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm muscly for an elf. I just want to point that out.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
wiry.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely
Like
wiry.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I think of Tom Holland as like a half elf.
Well, he's a half human
Also perfect.
because he's bitty.
Yeah.
And he's a perfect person. It's true.
Okay. So when you all go into the Kraken's owner proprietor is this woman half orc called Penty, and Nyx, because you're from here, you know that Penty is not a half orc from like the Drome part of the world where most orcs and half orcs live. Penty is a like Breland and more importantly Sharn native, right? Like she grew up here. This is her city, and like there's a whole mix of people here. It's not just humans, and so that's just an important distinction if you're looking at folks, particularly in this neighborhood too. There are people from all over the world who come to the dock ward at Sharn. But she kind of got to live out her dream. Like she did some adventuring when she was younger, and she's only like 40, right? But got to open up this tavern at the docks in her like home neighborhood, and so you probably watched her grow up. Honestly, like I don't know. I think we established the other players, their characters don't know how old you are really, but the Nyx, we know their background is at 80. I think is what you said.
80, yeah.
So I think,
And maybe Penty calls me old man or something.
yeah, because she has seen you her whole life, and if there's a face that's been consistent, and your friends are like, come on, they're not that old. Okay, well, whatever. And that's Penty's never really brought that up in character or in specifics, but when you all go into the Kraken, it's a busy night. But probably one of the things you notice right off, let's say it's like Friday night, in the Kraken. One, it's less humid in here, and that's one of the spells Penty knows, is that she can like change the ambient. She can sort of like prestidigitate a room, right, and change like the temperature and the air quality, all that kind of stuff. So it's also like not very smoky in here, even though there's like a big roaring fire, because also at night here, when it's even in the middle of the summer, it's nice to have a fire to dry things out, and so the air in here is drier. It smells nice. The candles aren't like, it's not just all smoke everywhere, but it's also not a fancy enough place to have like alchemical lights and fancy doodads and all that. So it is very much a sort of Tolkien-esque tavern with torches and lamps and a big fireplace and all that. But the atmosphere is controlled. She has that's one of the spells she knows. And but what you walk into is she is having a fairly heated conversation, and it's not like the whole tavern has stopped to watch and listen to this conversation, but everyone's conversation is a little bit quieter, and like the folks gambling at cards so this place is laid out as there's I'll use my square here to describe. So if you go in from the bottom of the screen, the bar is directly across, and then in the area there are dotted tables in the open area there, and then you could go around the bar to the right, and there's a restroom there. If you go around to the bar to the left, there's stairs up to where you could rent a room. All right, does that kind of make sense for everyone? And you could get in behind the bar from either side if you wanted to go around that way. So there's probably 15 tables in here. It's a pretty big space for all things considered, but keep in mind there's 12 rooms, probably 12 rooms upstairs, between another couple of floors. So it's a busy, thriving business. Lots of people coming in and out. You can see there's even a couple of Sagwin folks who are sort of like sharp teeth, fish folk who look like, I mean, there's sort of a stereotype about them being pirates, but these two actually look like pirates. So they look like they've like just come in from the sea, and but they're just having a conversation in the corner at their own table. And Penty is talking to these two, looks like orc or half orc, not totally sure. Their backs are to you. She's having a heated conversation with them, has some stuff on the counter, is handing it to them, and what you hear is, it's fine, just take this and go eat somewhere else, not here. We're done. Like, you have to go. You can't stay. And she's like,
what language are they speaking?
She is speaking to them in common. And
Okay.
that's kind of just the tail end of what you come into.
Okay. Hey, boss. How's it going? I'm
Penty?
speaking to Penty. Yeah.
Okay. She looks up at you, kind of over the shoulder. So there's an orc who's very masculine and an orc who's looks fairly feminine, and well, let's say half orc. They both look half orc. So Penty looks over the guy's shoulder around at you, and kind of gives you this look of like, just like silent frustration of not, like, she doesn't literally say, "Can we throw these people out?"
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I need to do is have. Oh, actually, Alaebas, what does your don't you have like a detect?
I have divine sense.
Yeah, what does your divine
can
sense
detect-
hone in on?
It says, as an action, you can detect good or evil. Until the end of turn, you can sense if anything affected by a hollow spell or known location of any celestial, fiend, undead within 60 feet that is not totally behind cover.
Okay, and so how do you use that? Do you just automatically...
You can use this feature 3 times per long rest. So I would have to like engage it.
Okay, well, I'm going to set it off and not have you spend it. So I'm just going to have it go off for free.
I think because Alaebas' thing, like one of the things about his order is like they're about the beauty through art and music and being able to promote all that to make sure that like goodness doesn't go out of the world because like art creates life sort of a thing. So he would totally bring his loot to the bar. So he probably wouldn't be around then. So then like when it kind of goes off,
it's a pretty wide area.
Yeah, so he wouldn't necessarily be around this like kind of confrontation, but then like he's just about to start singing, and then that's when the ping comes off.
Yeah, okay. So you get I don't know if it's exactly precise because you kind of go over to there's a little performance space by the fireplace. And the your divine sense goes off, and you're sensing an undead, and you're like, okay, well that's weird, right? In this place, and you probably can't pinpoint it without like if you want to roll investigation, we could try to pinpoint it, but it's either Penty, which seems unlikely, or one of the 2 people she's talking to. But you have sensed an undead in the room. So you could either roll investigation or spend the divine sense, which I gave you for free, to know exactly who it is we're talking to.
Is the not normal undead like this Eberron's undead? Did we say that it's still not common knowledge, right?
Everyone knows that the undying exist. It's just not. Like they don't wander around bars, they don't really leave their island for the most part. Actually, I think Arenal is an island. And then there are rumors about the undead from well down, but again, that's mostly just rumors as far as you know.
So, hey, Jason, are those rumors treated as like, oh, a lot of like ships have been there, they've done trade with them, or is it rumors of like fish tales?
Urban legends?
Yeah.
Somewhere in between, right? Like a few ships have been, and they've come back and been like, you guys are not going to believe where we just, because Well Down was maybe not the busiest shipping lane, because it's also, I had mentioned the Sagwin pirates, like it's through, heavily pirated waters to get to the island in the first place. And so there's a lot of airships that were going out there because that was safer. And, heavily armed merchants would go out there, but it was worth it because the city of Karazosh, the Emerald City, can pay for stuff, right? Like there's a lot of wealth on the island, and they will make it worth someone's while, but not everyone will go, right? It's not a cheap trip to make, and you have to have the funds and wherewithal to go and defend yourself on the way. So, it already wasn't a super common destination.
Then he'll kind of put his, I don't know if there's like a stand that you put his loot there, because I don't think anybody would steal it unless he's terrible. Then they'd be like, he probably shouldn't be playing this in the first place.
Let's like cut those strings.
So he'll
Be nice to the loot, it's not its fault.
He'll walk up to the group and be like, Penty, you seem harsh to these travelers that you'd want to kick them out.
I don't want it getting around that we serve zombies in here. And
that's
Penty
what I was
just looks furious.
I did sense that, but I feel that these are different.
The people she's talking to turn around, and the half-orc guy doesn't seem like the one that, now that you're close to the 3 of them, he seems alive. And the gal who turns around he has this sort of orcs can vary in shade, and he's more of like a green half orc, like leaf green to pale in some parts of his skin, pale green, with dark black hair, and he's just built. He's built like a Jason Momoa, right? Like he's a big dude, in leather armor and just like traveling stuff. He turns and he's like, "What? This isn't." He's like trying to not make a trying not make a scene. He's physically large and is probably used to, like, he looks like he's used to being in spaces where he knocks things over. So he's like trying to not do that. And
I can empathize.
Yeah. I mean, he's not as big as you, but he's 6'6" and built to be 6'6". You're just bigger than him. So, and when the gal turns around, she has this sort of pale lavender skin, but their facial features look similar. They they
sibling?
look related for lack, however, she also has this like sallow skin quality. Her eyes are kind of sunken and yellow, and there are some like there's like a stitched up cut on her cheek that it's stitched shut. It's not the first time you've seen a stitched up cut on someone's face, but this is the person who's setting off your awareness. And she turns and she seems a lot more kind of hostile, and like, look, we just need a room. Like, she's still trying to talk Penty into giving them a room. So
is it unusual? Is it unusual for her to have these feelings towards an undying person? Like, is there a general amount of fear around it?
So first of all, I think probably nobody you know or nobody you've ever met has met an undying person.
Okay.
And if an undying person were here, they would be like, well, one, they're all rich because they've been around for ages, right? And they wouldn't be coming to the docks.
Right.
They might come here to find someone. Like, if they were on a mission to come to Sharn and figure something out, then they might come and ask around, but they would be in fancy armor. They would probably have like the Undying crest. They would have no reason to hide who they are. They're a prestigious, if secretive, group. So guessing Undying, and it's also, I think for the rest of you, it's not immediately obvious that this gal is dead, right? Penty called her a zombie, but like, you've probably fought zombies before. Penty has. She's talked about it.
Is this a normal reaction? Like, does Penty treat people like this, or is this out of character?
It is somewhat out of character. She is gruff, right? She's not like everybody's mom, but she's not an asshole for no reason,
Right. She's a barkeep. She can't afford to be.
Right.
Yeah, she's no nonsense.
Right. Like, she likes running a tavern, right? She likes people enough to like want to be here and do this. But it's it does seem a little strange that she would like just take your shit and get out of
Alaebas
here.
have exposure to the Undying?
What's that?
Not like direct. Does Alaebas have exposure to the Undying, being an elf or a wood elf, or is that like a different type of elf?
It's definitely a different type of elf. It's probably something you've heard about. Because especially in your like religious learning and stuff, it is notable that before the Undying, thousands of years ago, undead were generally associated with negative energies, and then the Undying was a big deal that there were positive energy undead folks.
Did I get the detect evil as well?
No.
So I just
if you
got
want to
that she was
spend it. If you want to spend the thing, I can give you a bunch more information, or if you want to just roll investigation, I can give you some more information.
I'll spend it.
Okay. So check off Divine Sense, and
This is real snazzy, this D&D Beyond, guys.
oh, yeah.
Oh, it's nice.
It's so great. They should be
Nice.
paying us for how much we talk it up. But it honestly, well, I mean, here's the other side of that, though. I just wouldn't play D&D again without it. Like, if it didn't exist, I wouldn't be playing D&D. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you set off your Divine Sense. You spend the action to detect good and evil, and you also sense this. I don't, as a game mechanic, I don't put a ton of stock into good and evil, but I would say, like, if somebody were way down one end or the other of the spectrum, I would identify that for you. These folks are in the like gray area of normal people who do good things and bad things all the time, right? But you definitely you have clearly identified this gal. She has lavender skin and darker purple hair. It's like kind of a long braid, like a kind of a Viking braid, really. She is definitely an undead person to your paladin sense.
Then he'll step up to like in between her and Penty.
Kind of at the bar. The bar is between Penty and these two.
There have been a lot of civilians that have been displaced that have been taken in by this city. I feel like these are more and should be accepted as well. I do sense that she may not be wholly alive, but there are types of elves that have the same energy.
Okay, so Penty's initial reaction is like, look, she's no elf, but what, Alaebas, go ahead and roll your persuasion skill. Looks like you have a +4.
I sure do, and that's a crappy roll. That is a 9.
Total of 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it.
We did it.
Yeah.
Are we within hearing distance of all this?
Yeah,
Like,
I think the three of you, all of you sort of come in, and Alaebas was going to go set up with the loot. And did you say loot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You were going to go set up with your loot, and you're all just kind of coming in, and you're either going to go to the bar or look for a table because it's a relatively busy night. And you were starting to do your thing, and then wow, okay, there's this thing that's taking up a lot of air in the room. And everyone else in the tavern is pointedly ignoring it, of like, oh, no, I'm sorry, what were you talking about? You mean the conversation we can hear clearly from all the way across the room? No, I don't know what they were talking about.
Can we assist Alaebas? Or, well, okay, I don't want to say we, because Zay and Nix may have different opinions. But if there's ever something that everybody is pointedly ignoring, Ventuz wants to get in the middle of. So is there any way that I can assist Eli?
If you describe how you're helping Alaebas' conversation, I'll give Alaebas advantage, and he can roll again.
Okay. I am basically walking in and putting and making a space at a table physically by finding like the smallest possible space and inserting myself into it and going, no, we have room right here, we can all sit right here. Hey guys, right here. Okay, here's where we're going.
So you're trying to get the attention of the folks at the bar?
Yeah, like basically who Alaebas is talking to, as well as the rest of the group.
Okay, so the main thing, the main person Alaebas has to challenge is Penty. So
it's more of convincing Penty, like, no, there's room, we've got room. Okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
we got.
And you, Rob, know that is Ventuz like being willfully ignorant of the fact that it's not about how many seats are in the tavern?
100%.
Okay, like he knows that's not the issue, but he's making that the issue.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I like that. You do have a high wisdom, and that's kind of a street smarts thing to be aware of. So that makes sense to me. Okay, so let's roll again, Alaebas.
That is a 16 with the +4.
So 16 total?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That is much better. And Penty says, kind of looks over where Ventuz is like edging, people out of a table. People are like, whoa, okay. A couple people get up and move to another table, and just the look in Penty's eyes is like strained. Like you've kind of put her in a position where she has to say yes to this or be the total asshole, so
Too late for that.
yeah, I mean, she's kind of being an asshole
Already
already.
happening.
Yeah. So she says, fine, the table by the door, since that's where you are, but they have to be out before we just fuck. And she just turns and walks to the other end of the bar. And
then he'll ask Penty as they're walking over, how much is it for a room?
Penty looks back and says, they are not staying here. That is not an option.
So can I get a room?
Alaebas, you come and talk to me later.
Thank you.
Oh.
It's not that.
She's like, take that damn loot away.
Okay, so Ventuz, you made room at the table. Alaebas, you sort of made this opening. These two, we'll just call them siblings because they really, really look related. I mean, it's hard to deny it at this point. She's not as big as he is, but she is like 6 feet tall and kind of rangy. So they're both in traveling clothes. He has probably a long sword, I guess, and she has a short sword and a pistol. Is a kind of technology that's available in this world. It's not common, but you see it around. Do any of you know about firearm stuff in character?
I would say I probably saw some amongst my travels.
Okay. So this is a design that it's not a design you're familiar with, but you can identify it as a firearm, obviously. But it's interesting because all the firearms you're used to, like you've seen the design where you pull the trigger and it pulls the hammer back and it slaps down and sets off something. This is, I mean, it looks like those old sort of flintlock pistols, but you don't see any sort of like hammer mechanism, which is like a pretty obvious thing for how a gun works in this world.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the thing that might catch your eye if you have an eye for guns, is that looks weird. They turn and the big guy looks like he's going to say something, and she puts a hand on his chest and says, thank you. It's also like, we just needed these things and we can go. We don't need to cause a problem.
I don't think that it's you who's causing a problem.
We don't stay where we're not welcome. And that's...
Sit. Talk to us. What is that? And my trunk points at the firearm.
Just for fun, Ventuz, can you roll persuasion for me?
Persuasion, sure. I can try anything because it's.
He can roll anything.
9 and a 4 is a 13 plus persuasion is a +3, so that's a 16.
Holy crap! Yeah, okay. she warms up to this very strange. You know what it is? I think she knows what you're up to, right? Like she saw the conspicuous collection of a table, and that you're trying to make kind of a normal way for you all to have a conversation, and you could see like there's some relief. Also, as you say, like, "Hey, we're having a normal conversation now," you sort of loudly give the room permission to just mind its own fucking business for a minute, you know? And
that wasn't any of my intent.
No,
my
I know.
intent is to know what the fuck that is.
I know, but your persuasive tone made room for the conversation to happen, and they want to come over and sit down at the table with you. There's room. The 6 of you at this table is definitely max capacity for this round table. You got to steal a couple of chairs.
Alaebas is going to go play the lute.
What's that?
Alaebas is going to go play the lute.
Oh, you don't want to sit at the table with everybody?
I mean, he'll be in the general vicinity, but I mean, that's kind of like his thing a little bit.
Okay, you'd be out of conversation range. It's
Sure.
a fairly big room, so it's up to you.
That's fine.
Okay.
I mean, he'll come back if he takes a break,
Okay.
but he's going to go play a couple songs.
Okay. So the two of you sit down. They introduce themselves as he says his name is like Gore, but everyone just calls him Gore or Gory. And so that's his like sort of self introduction, and her name is Stiv, Stiv, like Shiv but with a T.
Okay.
And yeah, and just in a, their sort of, introduction montage is that they've arrived here from well down, and they're, they just got in tonight. And so I'm curious to see, and she is going to answer your question, Ventuz. Like, they're just sort of like getting through the preliminary of like, we have to say some things before I tell you about my weapon.
I mean, you don't have to.
Oh, well, they apparently have some sense of how conversations go. And so, I know, right? Social graces, who knew? What's Zay up to in this situation?
I think, I was watching this whole situation. I was ready to step in, but it was unnecessary. Yay. But I'm very interested in why they're here. Like, obviously, they came to this inn because it's an inn and they thought they could get service.
Mm-hmm.
But without
it's not a bad guess, really.
Without having to deal with all this.
Right.
But like, what? I know that, like, the Undying don't normally leave their island.
Yeah, and they're almost exclusively, they're exclusively elves as well.
And like, why would you come here? It must be something important.
Okay. And what's Nyx up to in all of this?
Nyx has just been kind of she said, sup boss, and kind of watched the whole thing unfold. She doesn't like racism of any kind, for obvious reasons. They don't like racism for obvious reasons. So Nyx is uncomfortable. Nyx has lost a little bit of respect for
Penty.
But is also, kind of understands, like, why is there an orc undying? What is this? So they're gonna kind of hedge their bets and get a beer or whatever from Penty and join everybody at the table and just kind of listen.
Okay. Cool. Just looking for something here. Okay. So the 5 of you sit down to the table. Where did I put? Okay. Sorry. I was just looking for a document. The 5 of you sit down at this table, and we'll sort of proceed as as this went. So she answers the question about her weapon, and that it's a type of pistol that works when it's wet, which is that's her main description of it, right? Is it not? I almost said it's a water pistol. That's not what it is.
That's a different kind of gun.
Right. But she's used to sailing, and it's a kind of weapon. Like, it works underwater is a claim that she makes, and that it is like the operation of it is a little bit different. It's so that's
I'm unfamiliar with pistols in general.
okay.
I haven't encountered them yet in my
Yeah,
travels.
I don't think you'd be able to handle one anyway, even though you'd
Nope.
have to have one
Big fingers.
specially made for your big hands. Yeah.
Or his nose.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh.
a nose pistol.
A nose pistol. We're gonna build them. We're gonna have to build a nose pistol, aren't we?
I guess better than a nose cannon.
Is it?
A nose rocket?
It's not funny.
Oh.
Yay.
Stop making the subtext text.
He can't help it.
I know. So I'm basically, for me, for Ventuz personally, I'm gonna go down a path on the technology
Mm-hmm.
and less of a path about the person. If the technology runs out, then the conversation will switch to the person.
Yeah, the conversation wouldn't go super long because she didn't make it. Like, she doesn't know everything about how it works. Like, she couldn't recreate it. She's not a...
Okay.
Then
While that's happening,
if you didn't make it, then is this common carry now amongst the shipping lanes?
Not that I'm aware of. It's... I'm told it's expensive. It was a gift before we left Welldown.
Oh, you must have a great admirer then.
Oh, well, we're on a... Oh, boy.
they're on a mission from God.
So you're saying you have a great patron.
We're on a diplomatic mission. I can't say it. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it until it was coming out of my mouth. What's funny is we rewatched Rogue One last night, and then like the first 15 minutes of A New Hope, and because I'd never actually sat down to watch that part together. I really liked it, but anyway, yeah. What? No, we're diplomatic envoys from Brine. My brother and I are, and the mayor of Brine gave me this before we left. It's complicated and difficult to make, but
So is a mayor in charge of your country? Like, can you do a diplomatic mission from a city to a
no,
country?
But the mayor takes orders from the Emperor of Karazosh, and
Oh, there's an emperor.
yeah,
Okay.
or the Emperor is. I mean, it's a little bit complicated because like the family rules the city as a group. The ruling family. There's not just one. I don't know how
There's
to.
multiple emperors?
I mean, the family is in charge. It's like a council, but if the council were all related,
So the mafia.
what's that?
It's a bunch of families that rule things together.
I guess, yeah, that sounds similar.
All right. So the mafia sent you.
No, the city of Karazosh sent us.
Oh, okay. All right. What are you trying to do here? Except have a drink at a pub.
Well, that would be nice. And Gore, it's kind of like seems a little uncomfortable. He's not saying why, but he's also not like stopping the conversation. But he just like shifts in his seat and has his mug and just seems ill at ease. And
if you, I'm sorry to intrude, but if you're on a diplomatic mission, were you not provided with arrangements, places to stay, people to contact while you were here?
well, the problem is we don't have a lot of contacts in the city. Everyone who was willing to do business with us 2 years ago is no longer willing to do business with us through the old channels, and we have to build new channels
Why?
because most of us are dead.
Well, yeah, that's part of your whole thing, isn't it?
Yes, but our arrangements with House Orion were canceled, and we're here to make new arrangements with a different house, if possible, that we can begin shipping again and create a livelihood. And she kind of laughs at her very bad small joke, but kind of mirthless, like...
Are you saying that the House Orion isn't dealing with your kind right now?
They canceled all of our contracts 6 months ago.
Did they give a reason for it?
No, they won't return our communications.
Did they cancel it recently, or did they cancel it upon your?
They said 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Oh, 6 months ago. Okay.
Which, as far as the rumors that you've heard, is that this all happened a little over a year ago now.
A little okay.
Well, it's certainly disappointing
That's
to hear of that action by House Orion. However, not entirely surprising.
But they're not
Why
the
is it
only
not
ones. They're not the only ones with ships and airships, and the House Thrashk has reached out to us. The island of Welldown is predominantly half-orc descended, and the House Thrashk is similar, and they, I think, rightfully see an opportunity to make a move, but it's complicated for them to get in touch with us, so we came to get in touch with them.
But they didn't provide any kind of arrangements for you?
Well, like I said, it's complicated to do that ahead of time, and they have to protect their interests as well.
Alaebas is singing the song, basically saying is about accepting the changes of the season and how things are animate.
It's a big favorite here. I think everybody likes that song.
Do I need to make a performance roll?
Yeah, let's make a performance check. I love that idea.
Oh, he bombs it.
How bad is it?
It's a 7 total.
Okay, well, you get advantage here because everybody knows your name.
All right.
Everybody knows you.
I gotta re-roll the whole thing. That is a 16.
Oh.
The subtext has become text.
Yeah, that's much better. The half dozen tables that are nearest the fireplace are all, clunking their mugs and singing along and, coming in on the refrain. And that's you've got probably half of the tavern is singing along and having a great time. And I think this conversation is probably ancillary to that. You're aware that everyone's doing a big sing along, but you're far enough away that's that's everyone's singing a song. It's not hard to have a conversation during that.
Yeah.
But I like that. I'm noting that Song of Unity is being played in the background.
I want to ask Stiv how the House of Bounty Hunters is going to help them with trade.
It's interesting that you call them that. I've heard that name. Well, we know them as the House of Finding, and what we need is a new route. We need to find a route, and finding includes bounties, but it also includes finding the path sometimes.
That
Huh.
makes sense.
Hadn't heard that one. Noted.
Sorry, my thing is not doing what I wanted to do.
Well, do
Is
you
there
have...
like
no, go ahead.
Is there like a schedule for knowledges and things like that? My brain is still rubbing its head around 5e.
Yeah, we could do a history check. What is it you want to know about?
I want to know. Well, I'm not remember. Maybe you discussed it, and I'm just not remembering it. Like what happened a year ago?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. So what happened is, or at least you all are getting rumors, so it's okay if it's a little bit fuzzy, like your understanding of it's a little fuzzy, because in character it would be. But the rumors are that some necromancer came to the island of Welldown and did some sort of spell that sounds impossible based on what's been described, and turned a whole town of like several thousand people into zombies, and raised the skeletons of everyone in the graveyard, and just turned a whole town of people into undead, and was going to march across the desert and take over Karazosh, and which would not be that difficult to do with thousands of undead soldiers.
Right.
And they were stopped when a group of adventurers somehow were able to stop the necromancer. And that's what is so wildly guessed and varying in the story. It's, pretty hard to get a straight answer on that. But the story is a whole town of people were turned undead. And once the necromancer was killed, they were of their right minds again, but they're still undead. And so, in the more recent months, there are rumors of them, wanting to be able to create contracts, like open shipping lanes, and that they claim to be good sailors, because if they fall overboard, they just have to get back in the boat. Like
that's right. Okay.
They just climb right back up.
Yeah. They don't have to sleep, they can sail all night.
Right.
That's so they're trying to make their way in the world, and versus a lot of at worst prejudice, at best like, wait, what? Is that
right?
I don't know how to categorize that, of like incredulity of like, what do you mean you're undead?
Right.
So it's something that is so far out the realm of what, even in this world of like fantasy and magic and all that, the idea that this concept is new, right? So it's fine if your character is like, wait, is this real? I thought this was a dumb story.
Okay.
So anything along that spectrum is totally understandable.
So then in that case, I'm going to ask, so why do you need new shipping routes? What's wrong with the old ones?
All of our contracts were canceled because they don't want to work with us anymore, I assume.
So, but I don't understand how shipping routes are going to help with that. Are you trying to find new places to go?
We need people to hire us. We can't sail somewhere with nothing to pick up and no one to sell to.
Okay.
So we might be able to use the same literal lanes of moving from place to place, but if we get there, no one currently will do business with us unless we have the backing of a dragon marked house.
It's important to find new markets, I think, is what they're trying to say next.
Or access to the old markets. We're not particular. We just want to do business.
Well, is it because of who you are or because what you have to offer? So, for instance, is it a straight commodities issue, or do you think they fear working with people in your condition?
the house didn't give us a clear explanation as to why they canceled our contracts.
If you've lost all your contracts somewhere in the last few months, I would say that it's most likely the obvious.
Yeah, that's been our assumption as well. And we haven't. We tried to open a conversation with them, and they were not interested.
Guys, can we go back to Corvus's house to take the painting back? Is that the thing? Dude.
Well, can we ask him? Like you've got a relationship, not in the relationship kind of way, but you at least know the guy. I mean, can't hurt to ask.
We did just give him, something he's super excited. They were super excited about.
What if we, instead of attempting to break into the house, Orion, to take back something that we literally just gave them?
Gore holds up his hand when you say, he's like, wait, did you say Corvus? You know Corvus Orion?
Yeah, Nyx really loves him.
Listen, first of all, yes, but also
totally
yes. Obsessed. I just think that they're really great. I think that they are really forward thinking, which is why I want to take the thing back that we gave them because it's not cool to be racist.
Or statusist.
Yeah.
Or necromancist.
Conditional? I don't know.
Well, so Gore is
breathing centric.
Yeah.
Gore is openly incredulous, right? Like this just like if you think from his point of view of like, okay, the random people that we met at this random tavern we went in just happened to know one of the most high-ranking people in the house that we are, greatly at odds with. So I'm gonna need somebody to roll persuasion. Someone at the table.
I'll do it.
Okay.
What's your persuasion? I'm just curious.
It's +4.
Yes.
I'm the rogue, bitches. That's gonna be an 18.
Oh, that's
a gentleman's 18.
A dirty 18.
Suck it, Gore.
A dirty 18.
Yeah. Okay. So Gore sits back in his chair. You can see this wooden chair like kind of shift and creak a little bit as he sits back. Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, I'm Ventuz. This is Nyx. This is Zay.
Are you
serious?
That seems like
a
joke that a father would tell.
I don't know, but I can be your daddy. No, scratch that.
I
do not hit
fast.
on that one.
This is a fast lane game.
That's out. That's fine. Out of character comment.
Happy Jacks. Nice.
So, I mean, if what you really want is to reestablish a relationship with House Orion, or
would you be open to that?
Or do you want to pursue your new pathways with House Thrash?
We only have the beginning of a relationship with House Thrash, but I don't know if we would trust House Orion to enter into a new deal at this point.
And honestly, I know something of trade. And once your partner has broken your trust, their word is no longer their bond, there's no point. What you need, in my opinion, is something new. Not to just be another ship that is on the highway of established routes. But this deal that you're proposing with House Thrash seems perfect, because what they can find you is something no one else has. Once
And-
you have a monopoly on the new whatever it may be, then they'll have no choice but to come to you, and you'll be able to set your own terms.
Oh, that's been somewhat along the lines of what we were hoping for as well.
I have a
My
thought.
friends, if you don't mind me calling you, my friends, you, you reek of desperation.
You know what removes the stench of desperation? A good introduction. And while we might not be able to get House Orion to re-enter negotiations with you, we may be able to leverage their guilt, their obvious guilt, over this horrible decision of canceling all your contracts into an introduction with House Thresh.
Well,
What obvious guilt?
we would be open
The
to
obvious guilt that we're going to show them that they have,
yeah.
obviously.
If you have a contact with House Thrash, we would. I can't. This is Stiv speaking. I can't afford to say no in the metaphorical sense. However, the desperation is somewhat misplaced in that we're very well funded, and she like lowers her volume a little bit to explain this. Like, we've come prepared to make a deal, a substantial deal, and our country. So the city Karazosh is there's like the whole desert nation is also Karazosh. It's like sort of New York and New York, you know.
Yeah.
And then Brine is the Staten Island. So she says, if possible, we would leave Orion out of the conversation altogether. We want to create a new conversation, and we have funds, but obviously we also can't operate at there were
What
many
you
places.
need is not just, I mean, obviously the monetary is a draw, but it's not just that House Tharash has something to offer you, but that you have something intrinsically valuable to offer them.
Yeah, we think so as well. And
What is that?
superior shipping skills, certainly.
A willingness to go places no one else is willing to go because they're too frightened.
Yes, and the ability. We have defended our ships from pirates, like, if I may, aggressively well. We have an endurance. Most of my folks, my brother's natural weakness notwithstanding, he still breathes. You understand, and that's. And
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, you're not the
curious
same.
about that. Why is it that he breathes and you don't? If I may.
I don't mind you asking that. He was at home in the city, and I was in Brine when the necromancer arrived. I was there
I see.
that day, and it was just a dumb luck.
So it's
Luck
only
of the draw.
it's only the Brinians, the Brinites that are under such conditions.
Well, everyone who was in the city, or in the town of Brine that day, is like I am, but our country has taken our side as our support, and in doing so has been shunned by many who would do business and also support. So
Anyone that shuns you is a jerk.
I feel the same way. And Gore just like thumps his tankard on the table and like throws the whole thing back. Like, yeah.
Well then, it's settled. House Orion will be made to regret what they have so brashly given up.
Okay. Well, if this is a possibility, I wonder if there's somewhere private we could speak, because we did have a lead on something that might, I don't know how much I should say here, and she kind of like looks over her shoulder at Penty, who's already been rude to her. She's like,
think nothing of it. We have a better place to conduct business discussions.
Yeah, come back to our place.
Do we?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, we do.
okay.
Nick sometimes forgets that we stay at her place. At their place.
No, Nix remembers that we stay at their place.
Well, if it's...
Zay just doesn't care that you think of it as your place. And as soon as you said, "Hey, come stay here," it became all of our place.
Yeah.
It is now also Stiv and Gore's place.
Yeah. And Ventuz is exactly the kind of person that would be like, "Oh, I've met you for 5 minutes. Why don't you come over and hang out into my private sphere?"
Right. So the five of you are kind of getting ready to go. You give Alaebas a sign to like, "Hey, let's wrap up the song." Oh, buddy.
Up, sing, and toss a coin, Alaebas.
Yeah. Come here. Come on. You're very cute. Everyone wants to see you.
Get it.
So Jason has Janet going on, whereas I have World War III between a 9-year-old and a
I
5-year-old.
can hear. Are they both girls?
One boy and one girl.
One boy, one girl.
My cat earlier, my desk is set up right next to a giant cat tree, and she was scratching at the post, whatever, and then she decided she also wanted to scratch at the post with her hind legs at the same time. So she was hanging off of it like sideways, but
okay.
off the edge. And then eventually she let her legs down, but was still hanging on
Oh no.
from her front paws, like extended off the side.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was real weird.
So,
Cat?
so y'all are getting ready to go as the door is violently kicked open, like way harder than it needs to be. You can even hear it crack a little bit against the hinges. I think that she probably has a double door here. It's a big enough place where you could have a double door. It's like the kind you normally just open the door on the right and the one on the left is kind of bolted into place. But these are kicked open. There's a little bit of splintering involved, and there is a group of folks coming in who are members of a local gang. You would recognize their markings, but I forget. Did we establish there was some sort of local gang that you all had dealings with?
The Silver Flame was the only one
No.
that we had issues with.
Yeah, that's like a big. That's like the Catholic Church is bigger than a local gang. Is all I mean.
What?
So the Knights of Columbus version of the Silver Flame?
No, these aren't. They're not religious. They're just like turf gang, So we're gonna say the what were those?
Nuggins.
The tunnel snakes. We need like the tunnel squids. The tunnel snakes were the. Is that Fallout 3?
I mean, what about the sewer eels?
Sewer eels. Yeah. Okay.
Sewer eels. That's
The Sweerles.
They just go by the eels for short. They kind of don't like people to call them the sewer eels.
It's just what everybody knows them as.
Yeah.
It's like gutter rats or gutter snakes.
Yeah,
like
the sewer eels.
sewer eels.
And it is this sort of thing, like, if members of the eels came in like a normal person and just sat down and ordered a drink, Penty would serve them, right? It's like, that's fine, whatever. Penty is not a member of the sewer eels. But they wouldn't just be kicked out summarily. But
Do we know who they are? Like, are they like a big known gang?
yes, in that their markings are recognizable, but you don't know these 6 guys, right? Or it's like 4 guys and 2 gals. But all of them look tough.
Are they like a big gang in the sense that they're like a big gang, or are they just like local to the area? We just know them as
They're
kind
a
of like
big local,
the neighborhood ruffians.
Yeah, I mean they're a big gang for this area, right? They're not like all through Sharn, but if you needed to do, like they'll move illegal stuff from the docks through the city, and they're like a few dozen members, probably maybe 40 people. So you don't know these folks specifically. It's also hard to know exactly how big the gang is, but it's not like 12 jerks on the corner, right? It's
Right.
a big enough organization that it's they have some ability to move around and kick a door in once in a while and do all that sort of stuff. But what they come in, there's all this rain blowing into the room in the entranceway, and I think the 5 of you were kind of sitting near the door, right? Because that was kind of the distinction, was near the door or near the fireplace. Alaebas is over by the fireplace, and
We're near the door.
yeah, because Penty was saying, yeah, just have your drink and get out of here like a tree. Thank you. So I think
Like a tree.
who
Sorry.
had their back directly to the door? It's a round table, right? So somebody's back was there, and then the other 4
Not
of
the
you
rogue.
would see. Okay, probably not Nick's. I'll accept that.
I'll do it. I'll have my back to the door.
Okay,
I
so
was about to say, like, I would probably be more profile because I want to keep an eye on what's happening with Alaebas as well.
okay.
I am just way too naive to even think that anything bad's gonna happen.
Okay. Let's make a dex save.
A dexterous savior.
Looks like you got a solid +0 to that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's
That's
so
a gentleman's +0.
Yes.
an 8 plus a 3 is an 11. Last I took math.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna give you an Easter +1 for a 12,
Aw.
which is still a miss. Just wanted to give you something nice.
Here, have this.
I'd like to
It's
resurrect
You're my
this joke later.
favorite.
Yeah.
Here, have this. It's worthless.
Yeah.
But
I award my students whenever they do something in class or they answer a question right, I award them ×1 multipliers, right? So they can
nice.
they can
Good.
stack up a number of ×1 multipliers. Like, oh yeah, you have 3 × 1. Is that ×3? No, that's 3 ×1 multipliers.
That's right.
Total.
It's a ×1 multiplier to the power of 3.
Yeah. I will multiply your score by 1 3 times, and that's your bonus. It's just the door swings open and kind of crashes into your big shoulder and knocks you out of your chair, right? It didn't have enough force to physically move your mass. You were thrown off balance when you looked and your chair tipped over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it would take an ogre to just like physically shove you over. That's not what happened. You just like, what the, and boom.
I just plopped the chair.
Just take 1 hit point of damage, please. Oh, Jamie,
I officially don't like this anymore.
she just stole my goddamn footrest.
It's hers now.
What's the dog your footrest?
No, there's a footrest under my desk, and I put my feet up often, but not now.
Well, damn it.
Or
Is
she's making a heated footrest.
Well, that's true. There's actually a picture of it. One of my latest photo tweets has a picture of her stealing my footrest. It's a thing that she does.
Where can we see these tweets, Jason?
Oh,
Yeah,
at
what's
my Twitter,
where-
@it's probably okay. But we'll talk about more about that later. So the door kicks in, and the guy at the front of this 6 people says, where's the damn zombies? We'll clean this place up. And so, for reference, Penty looks horrified, right? This is not like she did not call these guys to show up. Or at least it looks like she did. She's putting on a great show if she did.
Yeah. She didn't call them except with her incredibly loud prejudice and threats, which couldn't possibly summon unintended negative consequences.
Somehow be misconstrued as permission to behave like this. Yeah. However...
No! What are you talking about?
She looks horrified behind the bar, and she's, like, gonna yell. However, we need to roll initiative, because they are just, like, waiting in here, and we're gonna have to do this properly.
So what's a 1 and a 1 with no initiative bonus?
That's a 2, my friend.
Oh, okay,
What's
cool.
a 1 and a 2 with no initiative bonus?
That's a
Going
3.
before me.
This is great.
That's going before me.
All right, Ventuz.
We're doing it.
Alaebas.
I got 17.
No.
Stop bragging.
A little bit higher.
15.
And 15 for...
Good thing I'm the healer, guys. I don't really need to go.
I'm just, like, I keep trying to select these dice and they're moving around the screen instead. I really, really miss all, like, my 10 sets of dice that are at Stu's.
I know.
I'm glad I run a game at home.
Yeah, I only leave my character sheets there, and now I'm glad because I have all my dice here.
I would like to thank Dice Envy for giving me beautiful emerald and silver dice that so far haven't been working as well as a single D20. Jason.
And Dice Envy, if you'd like to give me dice, my favorite colors are purple and bronze.
Well, they have not sponsored this episode, so we'll be grateful for whatever they might say.
We'll be grateful for whatever happens.
And this game is also
I just
brought to you by D&D Beyond.
I kept breaking open my box of dice, like, in my car, and it was problematic.
Okay, so we've got... hold on. It sounded like the dog was going to bark at something. I was going to close the door. Okay, well, the room is somewhat in chaos as lots of people are, like, jumping up from their seats and trying to get out of the way as this is happening. And Zay, you're first in the initiative order. Oops, hold on. I didn't roll for Penty. Oh, all right. You're still first.
Oh, Penty's going to weigh in.
Yeah. What's her bar? Zay, you're up.
Anybody seen Onward, by the way?
No.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because Penty sounds like the barkeep from Onward,
I'll
and
have to
it's
go watch it.
giving me joy. Yeah, you should.
It's actually really good.
Okay. I don't really know anything about it. I've just heard the name. But anyway.
It's
Zay.
D&D, kind of. Anyway.
Zay, you're up.
Oh, great. So I am going to, I think... Okay, well, first thing, I'm going to go ahead and mage armor up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's an action to cast, right?
It is an action to cast.
Okay. And I think that gives you some temporary hit points, or you just had them already. I forget how that works.
Mage armor will give me more AC.
Yeah.
So it's 13. My AC is now 13 plus my Dex modifier, which is 2. So my AC is now 15.
Okay. And you want to do like a move or bonus action?
Yeah, I am going to also cast. No, I am gonna move. I'm gonna stand up.
Also, I think even when something is an action and a bonus action, I think you can only cast one spell per turn. Just so that's clarified going in.
That makes sense.
That came up at some point. Aside from things like Twin Spell and stuff that like specifically allow it, I think there's something in the DMG about, or the Player's Handbook, I mean, about only being able to cast one spell per turn.
Yeah. I am just gonna say that I get up, put my I think I'm just gonna put my hand on my rapier. I'm not actually gonna draw it, but I'm gonna get ready to in case things go badly. But like, be like, what the devil is this?
Oh, okay. And you just let them know that you're in the way as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Nyx, you're up.
I had a feeling. All right. Is there someone who's the speaker? Is he like looking kind of leader-ish?
Yeah. He's the biggest of the group, and it seems like in this kind of group, the biggest one is the one in charge. So
sure. Okay.
Just so you know,
sorry,
Claire,
I'm just trying to.
We're just seeing the top half of your head. It seems like your camera might be a little high.
Okay. No, I was bending down over it because I'm looking at. I'm getting crunchy into the rolls here.
Okay, I just want to make sure your camera hadn't drifted off.
No, that was me. Okay. I drifted off.
Feel free.
Okay. I am going to. I'm going to sneak. I'm going to duck under the table and shape change into the to look like the person who's in charge.
Okay, so that's a move and an action to shape change. So sounds like that's it.
And I think I get a bonus action. So I'm gonna hold my initiative on my bonus action to help anybody that tries to attack them.
Okay.
Can I do that?
I think help requires an action.
But I get a bonus. I get it as a bonus action because of my because I'm a master of tactics.
Oh, is that what that did? Oh, you can help as a bonus action. That's rad.
That's fancy. Good job.
Also, I'm also slightly stunned that I was right about help being an action. I was like, I don't know. I think it's an action. So
you are correct. But since I'm
true, this is very exciting
sneaky, for me. Yeah.
I
So
understand
I'm
D&D
holding.
rules.
Yay! So yeah, I'm gonna hold my initiative until somebody attacks to help.
Okay.
If somebody attacks in this round.
I like it. Okay, so on 12, Penty goes, and Penty ducks under the bar and then comes up with this great big heavy crossbow, and you could tell it's loaded with these blunted bolts, right? So they're going to deal like non-lethal damage. But
bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, she's going to fire off a blunted bolt. Hey, that's a hit. Good job, Penty. And a damage. Okay, she doesn't hit the lead guy, but one of the guys behind him is like in the middle of like, yeah, where are they? And then just like hits him in the like side of the mouth and the cheekbone and just whips him around, and he is not 100% knocked out, but drops to his knees and is so confused, just looks shocked.
So is Penty the DMPC?
She's a character in the scene.
Sure.
She's an NPC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Just checking.
Yeah, I don't do GMPCs, Rob. Thank you. So, on turn 10 is the thugs, also not the GMPCs. The 5 of them now get to fan out. I think they're gonna take Zay's threat as real. So we're gonna take a couple shots at Zay. That's quite high, actually. That's a total of 20 to hit.
Okay.
And I got doubles, so.
How dare.
Oh, snap.
What kind of damage am I taking?
It's bludgeoning damage.
Great. Like melee?
Yeah, he's got like brass knuckles.
Well, I am going to spend a sorcery point as a reaction.
What's that do for you?
Well, how much damage did he do to me?
Oh, I didn't roll for damage yet. Whoops. That is
0.
4 damage.
Great. I am... So,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
have-
It's 2. 2 damage. Just kidding. It's 2 damage.
Oh, never mind. I'm not gonna bother then.
Okay. So not spending
Alright.
sorcery point?
No, because like there's no point in me sending a sorcery point to do 1 point of damage back to him.
Okay. Fair enough. Does that say whether you have to do it before or after the damage roll?
It does not.
Okay, that's so. Listeners, I'm asking because I wrote the subclass and we're playtesting it, so it might have to be nerfed or clarified in situations. And I think it should be after the damage roll, but it should also say specifically one way or the other.
Yeah, to me it makes sense that like because of like at this level I have like 4 total sorcery points.
Yeah, you should
And
be
in
able
order
to
to
do it
use
after
my
the
meta
damage roll.
magic, like I like all of that stuff takes sorcery points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think if it didn't cost a sorcery point, you would have like it was just a charge or something. Then maybe before, but anyway, doesn't matter. This isn't game design hour.
But it could be.
But it could be.
Is gonna come at you with a 14 to hit you.
I have a 15.
Okay,
AC
so
now,
the two of them
thanks
are
to-
fighting with you. The first one, lands a bit of a hit, but sort of doesn't send much through your mage armor. What is your mage? Does your mage armor look like anything cool? Is it just like a blue glow or?
I would say that there's kind of like a it's more of like a shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like they look a little out of phase now.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's harder to focus on their features, and it is like it's kind of like you want to like squint, like when something's out of focus and you squint to make it better.
Okay.
This
I like
is going to
that.
sound like a digression, but I swear it's not. Has anyone here seen Ant-Man 2?
Did I see
Ant-Man
this
and
one?
Wasp. Yes.
Oh
Sorry, Ant-Man and Wasp. Yeah, the villain, like that. Is it kind of like that villain where she's kind of moving in and out? Zay is kind of moving in and out, like blurred.
Like Ghost, like a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's more of like a it's almost more like what Wasp does.
Okay.
Like where
Okay.
you just move, you like it's the magical effect of like moving really fast and like
Okay, and that's why you're harder to
Okay.
hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
like it almost hurts your eyes to look
Yeah.
at them.
It also gives you
Cool.
room to learn the actual blur spell later too, which has a similar kind of it's like a more extreme effect of that.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. As a free action, I think Penty sees your armor come up and sees this guy hit you, and Penty as a free action calls, "Zay, don't you kill them in here," right? Like because she knows that you're deadly, and she's like, "No, don't kill them in here."
Take him
and-
outside to kill him, damn it.
Yeah, the other
They drew
two.
first blood.
I think the other two are going to come
They drew first
after
blood.
Ventuz because you were sitting by the door, and you're one of them's going to come after you because you're knocked over. And does a 13 hit you?
It does not. Well, I'm prone, so I don't get a dex bonus. Oh, but I have no dex bonus. Suck it,
Oh,
Trek.
prone just means I get advantage to hit you.
Yeah, so 14 is my armor class, so a 13 does not hit me.
Oh, okay, just missed it. Okay, cool. So
Super thick head.
yeah, that guy doesn't get you. The other guy is going past you and taking a swipe at what's the guy's Gore is because Gore is like half out of his chair and not really ready to fight yet. So I'm going to give him advantage to hit Gore as well. 12's not going to hit him. Oh, but that is. It's a 19.
Excuse me.
Okay, yeah, Gore takes 6 to the face. 6 face
Well,
damage.
good thing he's a half orc, so he's ugly to start
His
with.
beautiful, beautiful
Oh,
face.
I take offense to that. He's very handsome.
He's tusky.
If you want a GMPC, it's this guy.
So they went like around the other side of the table for me then to
Well, these two.
get to Gore. Or
Well, these. I think you like came around the table to address them, right? And
I got up and like step towards them.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 of them went around to meet your
The other
step,
side of the table.
and then 2 of them came to fight Ventuz and Gore.
Okay.
1 got shot in the face, and there's a 6th one who did all the yelling and is like trying to figure out how this went wrong so quickly. You know, like so
It's Penny's fault.
he
Penty.
is I think he's holding his action right now. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Alaebas, it is your turn, and Ventuz.
How
you're
far
on
away
deck.
am I from them?
You're like, 20 feet across the tavern. I don't know how big a tavern is.
Can I get within 10 feet?
Yeah.
Still be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to channel Divinity and do Nature's Wrath.
Oh.
As an action, you cause spectral vines to spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet that you can see. The creature must succeed on a strength or dex saving throw, its choice at a DC 12, or be restrained.
Okay, you are
we
gonna
do that
And
later.
Alaebas, Nyx is going to use their help to help Alaebas, which means that Alaebas gets to roll with advantage.
I don't think I roll.
Alaebas doesn't have a roll for this. I have to roll save.
That's not happening yet.
You can use your help to give me disadvantage on my saving throw.
Okay, then Nyx is going to do that.
Okay. Well, is it an area effect? How does that work?
No, it's just one creature.
Okay, then yeah, I'll take disadvantage on saving throw. Okay, that's a 10 and a 7. Both of those are less than 12, and so
We did it.
Well, damn it, I wasted my help, but
yeah,
that's
sorry.
okay.
It's
all right.
So the spell goes off. The floorboards like rip and shatter as roots come shooting up through the floor to grab. Which one did you want to grab?
The leader.
Okay, that one who was hanging back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I realize he probably should have had advantage to do that because he was holding his action, but that's fine. He's grabbed and is struggling against these vines coming up out of the floor. He snaps some of that, and he seems pretty strong, but he is definitely restrained. Is that what that spell does? It restrains them.
Yeah, and they're spectral.
Cool. This is Penty's going to be a little mad about her floor, probably. Yeah, restrained. Okay. Cool. Ventuz.
So, the original eel who walked in is still unencumbered or unfettered.
The guy
correct?
who kicked the doors open and yelled and hung back, that's the one who's now wrapped up in vines. And
okay.
He's struggling. He's like trying to break out of it, but yeah.
Okay, then I will target the 2 closest to me, the one that took a swipe at me, as well as one with, just next to him. The one that took a swipe at Gore.
Yeah.
I will
That's the
target the
2.
2 of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I will trumpet like there is no trumpeting. With a war trumpet.
Are you gonna get up?
And I'm gonna cause fear.
Okay. You want to get up though because melee fighters will have advantage.
Oh, that's right, because he's still within 5 feet of me.
Yeah, it just takes half your movement. If you're not gonna go anywhere, you should stand up.
That's fine. This works out even better because I will stand up and then I will blow my trunk in his face.
Yeah, I love it. Because you're like 8 feet tall, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then
Happy Jack's Knights indeed.
Okay.
It's not a true Happy Jacks game until we blow trunks.
Is this a spell or what? What are you doing?
It is a spell. I'm causing fear.
Okay. Do I need to make a saving throw?
Yes, you do. Wisdom of 13 for 2.
Did you say con save?
Wisdom.
Did you say con save?
It rhymes with con, but this time it's wisdom.
That's right. No, wisdom save's not the worst on this, guys. It's just not great. Oh, that's an 18
It's
on the dice, so I'm not going to look up his wisdom save.
Fuck you.
The other guy, well, that's a solid 9 total of 9 with the bonus. So,
So he's running away.
all right. That's on your spell list, or is it a warlock effect?
It's on my spell list. It's called Cause Fear.
Oh, yeah,
you
Cause
may have
Fear.
heard
That's
of it.
what you said. Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, okay. And so he has to run away?
He does have to run away.
Okay. And then
Nice. I love fear.
on a successful save, just nothing happens, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
He is standing toe to toe
Okay.
with me.
Cool. So the other guy gets up and bolts out the door, and is out of the fight. Yeah. Easy peasy. Also, that was so loud. Everybody's ears are ringing. It's a very small space for that much noise. And wait, do you get to direct that at a target, or is that area effect?
It's a target. It's at first level it's one target. At second level it's a second target.
Aha, yes, okay. Awaken the sense of mortality in one creature you can see. Yeah, okay, I love that. So everyone else is just like, mo. You blast this guy in the face.
Just real glad I didn't thunderclap it here. I made a correct decision.
I mean, there's still
time.
Yeah, we're not out of combat yet.
Speaking of, it is Zay's turn. Back to the top.
Thunderclap, thunderclap, thunderclap.
Thunder.
So I can so I'm facing 2 of them right now,
Yeah.
and
One of whom hit you for 2 damage.
I know, right? How
2
The
freaking
gall.
rude.
damage.
The gall.
It was a very bad damage roll. This is sort of funny, actually.
How
It
very
was
dare.
so bad.
It was bad.
I mean, when you roll a 1 on the damage,
So are they attacking us with hand-to-hand combat, or he had a weapon, right?
well, he's got like
He's got
brass
some
knuckles,
brass knuckles.
which yeah,
What
he
a
seems
jerk.
proficient in.
I am going to use Sword Burst.
Okay, what does that do?
I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know that spell. That sounds amazing.
I create a momentary circle of spectral blades that sweeps around me. Each creature within range, in this case in 5 feet, must succeed on a dex saving throw or take 1d6 force damage.
Okay, so you probably would just want to take a side step so you're not next to Gore and Stiv.
Yes.
But you probably are. You're at least gonna break some furniture, just so you know.
Yeah, well, my caring about that is low.
Okay, but we'll keep
Like,
the other
this
2 guys.
This is Penty's fault,
Yeah, I agree.
and
100.
they've drawn blood.
Yeah, she was a total dick about this.
So like she can make the eels pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That means fired first.
So each creature within range makes a dexterity saving throw. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Hell, if
So-
I
Is
can,
is this a cone or is this like all around you?
it's around me.
Shit. So
Yeah.
I'm under the table, so I probably have to make a save.
no.
No, I
She
stepped
did a
out.
sidestep away from the table specifically
Oh, okay.
to not hit friendlies.
Okay.
I got is it a 13 dodge?
Oh, sorry. I didn't actually look.
Oh, your
Yeah,
spell save
so
is
it's
13, so that one
Yes.
dodges. The other one is an 11. So, nope.
Okay, so 1d6.
Now, do you want this to be lethal damage? Okay.
No,
Yes. Sorry. Yes,
I'm cool
make
with
it
like
lethal.
because it's force damage, so I'm fine with it being more like to unconsciousness.
Yeah, I think you can direct it to be, the actual blades or just like whirling dervish, kind of
It's like
impact.
it's like if somebody was beating you upside the head
Mhm.
with a practice katana.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
dull.
that makes sense to me.
It's made of wood.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing 6 damage to you.
Oh, 6. Ouch. Okay. So yeah, that guy is just knocked out, and I think what happens is his friend sort of like uses that guy as cover, and she's like, bah, 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 bah. You know?
Damn human shields.
Yeah. And then like shoves him aside, and is that concentration?
No, it's it's one action instantaneous.
Oh, I thought that was a maintain spell. Okay, so yeah, you just sort of burst. That sort of implies.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is like it's like they're not in existence for all that long.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of like they're this turn and then they dissipate.
Cool. I'm thinking of there's another one that's like blade burst or something like that.
Well, this is sword burst, and there's another one that's blade armor.
Yeah, I think.
Or
But there's
something
one
like
that's
that.
like you put it in a square, and it can like anyone moving through it has to take damage. I forget what it's called, but it doesn't matter.
Blade ward.
Yeah, blade ward. I think that's the one. Well, I think that might be the one that reduces damage. Anyway.
Oh no, that gives you resistance.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you knock out one of those guys. The other guy takes cover and looks like he's going to come back up in the fight. Nyx, it's back to you. Sorry. Did you have move or bonus action or anything, Zay?
I am going to. No, I'm fine. Like you know what? Actually, at the end of this, like after that, I'm going to draw my rapier.
Okay.
I'm like, if you want to come at me,
This is...
know that worse things will happen to you.
Yeah, this is how the conversation will proceed. This is what you do. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Cloud of Daggers.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yes, thank you. Okay.
And thanks also to Corinthark. We found it at the same time.
Oh, terrific. Okay, now, Nyx, it's actually your turn.
Yay! Okay, are these kids?
They're like
Are they
20.
like
they're not like
teenagers?
no. They're
not children, but they're adults. They should know better.
Yes.
Nyx is deciding which of her weapons she's going to attack. They're going to attack with. That's what's happening.
You're welcome to use any of your weapons. It's just you can tell me if you want the damage to be non-lethal or not.
Okay.
If you want to use your dagger, that's fine. You hit him with the hilt or whatever.
Yeah.
Or a non-lethal stabbing.
Can I use my crossbow and go for a shoulder pinning as opposed to a heart?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Then I'm going to. I'm under the table, and I look like their leader, who is currently being restrained by vines. There's one that's down and 3 that are up still,
yes.
or
yeah, the leader.
Okay.
One facing off with Zay, and the one who stood up to Ventuz's bullhorning. Sorry.
Bullhorning. Okay.
I hardly call
and I'm
like a trumpet in the face bullying.
Thank you.
And I'm closest to the one that's close to Ventuz, or the
Probably
one
the
to
Ventuz
Zay?
one, because you're under the table and Ventuz is next to the table.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So I'm gonna sneak attack with my crossbow.
Okay.
I did not roll well.
Normally, I'd probably have you make a stealth check to do that, but
I can do that.
Um,
Should I do that?
yeah, I think you get hide as a bonus action, right? Isn't that a thing?
I don't have it.
Cunning
I don't have
action?
it listed.
Yeah.
Cunning
yeah.
action. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Haha.
your cunning action. So.
Well,
go ahead
I'm
and-
already under the table though, because I used my last
Yeah, but
action.
they watched you go under the table, so it's not
Okay,
automatically
okay.
hidden. It's
Right,
and there's
okay.
no fancy tablecloth, so it's just a big wooden table with legs.
Okay.
But a
Okay.
hide bonus roll. Let's roll hide, and I'll
have to
just
roll
compare
hide?
it to their passive perception.
Okay. That's shitty. What do I get to add stealth to that?
Yeah.
13?
Okay. So the one that's fighting Ventuz and the one that's fighting Zay are unaware of your presence, but you can tell the leader is keeping track of you out of the corner of his eye.
Okay, that's fine. I don't. He's magically restrained at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot
I'm
on
not-
his mind.
Not concerned with him. Okay, so Ventuz is going to get a sneak attack now.
Okay.
And
Against-
that's I forget.
The one against Ventuz or the one
Not
against
Ventuz.
Zay?
Yes,
Okay.
the one against Ventuz. And does that mean I add my dex? What do I add for a sneak attack?
Yeah,
Okay.
your character sheet should have a ranged attack roll on the actions attack tab.
Actions attack.
So it's your
Plus
your,
5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plus 5.
Yep. I get plus 5 to everything except for my unarmed strike.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, that'll be a 17 total.
Hits, yes.
Hits. Okay, and now I roll my damage, which is 2d6
Almost
plus
certainly going to take some of
one plus 1d8 plus 3.
that. Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay, so 9 plus 7 is 16.
Oh, God, yeah. So you just fire this into the guy's foot, like at point blank range from under the table. Just...
I just nail his foot to the fucking floor of the tavern.
And he's
Towed him.
yeah. And Ventuz, you just see this guy like he's like about to come at you, right? You're like face to face. Well, I mean, he's a little shorter than you, but and then he just shrieks. And like drops to the floor as he's like clutching his leg, is looking at how his foot is literally pinned to the floor with this, you know, what's a crossbow bolt's about 10, 12 inches long. Like it's just, yeah. Just like, and
He's
it's
doing
so
the Ace
close.
Ventura.
Yeah, like half of the crossbow bolt is through his foot. Like it's just point blank range. I love you just like put it up like a staple gun, you know, just that's great.
You're not going anywhere for a minute.
Best sneak attack ever. Okay.
And then as you look towards his foot, all you see is a little piece of cloth disappearing back under the table.
Yeah. Do you want to do like a move action to like
I want to re-hide.
We would need another bonus action, and you used your bonus action to do the pre.
I did. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just so that's the end of my turn.
Okay, cool. That takes us to Penty, who is not going to shoot at the massive vines. She's going to shoot at the one in front of Zay because she's still worried about Zay doing a murder.
I can't imagine why I am the soul of discretion.
This guy gets plunked in the face. Oh,
Yay!
he only takes 1 damage, so he is sort of gets out of the way of her crossbow bolt. It like hits him in the shoulder, but it's blunted, so he's got a little bit of light armor on, and it doesn't do much to him. And then it's their turn. So Zay, this guy's gonna take a swipe at you. How about a 5? It's coming in hot.
Coming in cold.
Okay. And then
So cold. Cold as the
everyone
black
else is knocked out. So the
night heart in my chest.
the boss is going to do his saving throw to get out of your vines. And that's a 9 plus 3 is 12. What's your save?
It's 12.
Oh, okay. So he just breaks out of the vines, staggers forward, but that's his whole action. You do saving throw at the end of your turn, so he staggers forward out of the like zone that your vines burst up through, and you know gets into the main part of the tavern closer to the bar, and is throwing vines off himself and trying to get his bearings. So that's happening. Alaebas, it's back to you.
I'm going to attack him with Ensnaring Strike.
Again.
Yeah,
Oh,
as one of my
floors.
spells.
Think of her floors.
Yeah, well, she shouldn't have shot first. We could have had diplomatic stuff.
I mean, they did kick the door in.
I mean, technically,
Details.
if she hadn't been so undeadist,
Yes.
Excuse me.
also
none of
that.
this would have happened.
He got a 14 to hit.
Wait, I don't think you roll for. Oh, you're doing your attack roll ensnaring strike,
Yeah.
which is different from the spell thing that you did.
Yeah, because the Nature's Wrath I only get once per
That's
short
right.
rest.
That was Nature's Wrath. Okay, thank you. I'm just learning D&D as we go.
I mean, not important, really.
Yeah.
Like, right?
What did you say? 15 to hit?
14 to hit.
14 to hit. That hits. What are you attacking with?
His longsword, but the hilt.
Oh, okay. You carry your longsword around in town?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You're probably not in
Is
plate
there like
mail.
a thing about carrying his longsword around?
No. You can have your sword. It just you're probably not in plate mail to go to the bar. You know.
Oh yeah, because I lowered his armor class to 10.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So yeah, but 14 hits. You're trying to go easy on him.
Oh, that's the wrong dice. Hold please.
Mm-hmm. Holding.
That is 5 damage plus he gets another saving throw.
You can fail. It's okay.
What stat?
Strength out of 12.
Oh, that's a bunch. Yeah, that's 14.
What a jerk.
16. So
How dare.
so he's not ensnared. But how much damage did he take?
How much did I say? I forgot.
I forget too.
I think it was 4.
Okay. Adding 4 damage. Oh, he didn't take damage before. That's his first damage. Okay. Cool. Ventuz.
So, here's what I would like to do, and we're going to go on a journey together, Jason.
Okay.
I would like to rip the crossbow bolt out of the foot of the gentle person in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
shake it at him with all of the blood potentially going over as if I'm blessing the crowd,
Yep.
and then do an intimidation check to convince he and all of the other slippery little eels that this is not a place where bigotry is accepted, and
Okay.
if they wish to stay here, then they will have to face us in mortal combat.
Okay. So here's the choice I'm going to give you. You can make that intimidation check without the crossbow bolt. All right, that's fine. But if you want the crossbow bolt, you're going to have to do a strength check because that thing is buried in the floor. And if you get the crossbow bolt, I will give you advantage on the intimidation check. But you are going to have to make a strength check to set that up.
What would be the DC of the strength check?
Probably like, I don't know, difficult. 13, 14? Let's say 14. Yeah.
I have a -1 strength.
So you just have to roll a 15 or better on the dice. Or leave it and just do your intimidation roll.
Fuck it. I'm just going to do my intimidation. No, it's theatrically better for me to pull it out.
Yeah, if she
I'm gonna
hadn't
go for
done
it.
16 damage to the foot, it would be
Yeah.
easier to pull up, but like that thing is in there.
So much damage.
It's so much.
Like it has pinned his bones into the floor.
Yeah,
It's not great.
if that hadn't been declared as non-lethal, like this guy would be dead 3 times over.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So
I mean,
strategically speaking, the right move is to just do the intimidation.
Uh-huh.
I don't do strategy, just as a point of action. So
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily right strategic anyway. Like I want to have advantage on an intimidation check like that. Also, it's fucking cool.
So a 9 plus a 3 is a 12, minus a 1 is an 11. So
Okay.
I did not succeed in pulling out the crossbow bolt, but
Now, hold on. Nix, do you want to prepay your bonus action and help him out?
let me think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a player, of course I do. but as a character, I'm like, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Hold on. No. You do have advantage to do this because this dude is helping you pull the thing out of his foot.
He wants this as much as you do.
Yeah, this is a team effort, so you get advantage on this roll.
All right, I'll try it again. Bitch.
So roll better this time, or just lie about it.
I did not.
Just lie. No lie.
I did not roll better,
Okay.
but so what the way I imagine doing this is he's trying to reach down, I'm trying to reach down, I'm trying to grab leverage by like straddling his leg and like pushing the rest of his body farther away.
You're like, get out of the way.
Trying to, yeah. So it fails miserably.
Okay, so well, you don't get the crossbow bolt. You can still make the intimidation check, but I'm going to have you make it at disadvantage because of your kind of fumble with the crossbow bolt thing.
Okay. So I've got 4 D10s.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens.
But it's really 2 sets of 2d10. For the listener, we're not rolling 4 and taking the worst 2.
No. They are similarly color coded.
Mm-hmm.
So I know which ones. So on one of them I got a 15, and on the other one I got a 14. So 14 plus.
Yeah.
What's my intimidation? Plus 3. So that's a 17.
That's very good. Yeah, I think this. All these guys are down and out or ensnared, and yeah, I think the whole tenor of the room changes. These guys, like the ones who can move, sort of slink away. We finally yank that crossbow bolt out of the floor. These folks, are allowed to sort of limp their way out of the tavern, and we can pick up here or a little bit later next time. I know it's time for us to wrap tonight, so that was good timing. And let's just go around and say a little bit about who we are and what the hell we're doing here. Claire?
Yeah, so my name is Claire. You could find me at CBDubs, SEEBEEDUBS, everywhere. Anywhere you care to find me on CBDubs. I am a founding member of Happy Jacks, as I mentioned. I'm in the assistant director of the Merry Wives of Windsor, and I, in real life, I'm an administrator. So, and yeah.
Okay. Eli?
I'm on Twitter as Ignatius Wang. Follow me if you want to. But if you know any first responders or anything like that, please send them our love for all that they're doing right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Sorry, my one of my roommates is a first responder, so yes, I will tell her that.
Awesome. Pooja?
Hi, I'm Pooja. I am here on Happy Jacks every Sunday. Between this game, we're alternating the Vampire Fight E game with Stu, Glittering Night, which is kind of a sequel to Modes of Sin, another Happy Jacks AP.
It's very fun.
You can find me on Twitter at LA Daisy Girl, and pretty much everywhere else as Forgotten Saves.
Rob?
Cool. I are Rob. I've been here around. Whatever. It's all good. Clipper Rob, I don't really talk about a whole lot now that basketball has taken a minor hiatus. And I like to harass Jason.
Really? I haven't really noticed.
Never. Lies.
And I'm Jason. You can find all of my stuff mostly through Twitter at It's Probably Okay, just the letters OK. And I GM this game every other Sunday, City of Towers. Every other Monday, I'm in our Things from the Flood story, which has, I think, a few more Mondays to go. So that's almost wrapping up. We just recently
So is that tomorrow or a week from tomorrow?
A week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow.
I'm going to throw up the schedule at the end here. So we have this really great Google Calendar that Kimmy maintains for us. So
calendars. People use those.
Shadowrun campaign just wrapped up recently. You can go watch that or listen to it. That was a lot of fun. That was a big long campaign for us that and we sort of played Shadowrun, I should say, because it's me. I know what I am.
Shocked.
Rob, I know what I am. I also I got to run a short campaign for the folks over at 12-Sided Stories, which you can go check on their podcast. They do all the like sound effects and music and stuff. That's a lot of fun. I got to sit in over at Saving Throw Show a few times. You can find me over there. And I'm also doing a bunch of stuff on my own personal Twitch channel lately. So I'm running a Masks campaign, and I'm playing No Man's Sky, and just doing a bunch of stuff over there. That is also twitch.tv/it's probably okay. And that's my brand. It's okay. Hopefully it will be okay. Probably eventually. I know not everything's okay right now, but we'll get there together, and we'll all take good care of each other, and we'll make it okay again. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you all my players for coming online to sit for 4 hours with me and listen to nonsense and participate
Super
in
fun.
nonsense. And we will be back in 2 weeks. So
2 weeks.
thanks again, everybody. I'll throw up the calendar here, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
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 Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.